It's raining, it's raining. The streets were bustling with people. Heavy rain poured from the sky, and everyone was running to take shelter. Yet there was a man standing still, dazed, strikingly out of place amidst the fleeing crowd. I haven't seen such heavy rain in a long time, the man murmured, standing in the rain, looking at the raindrops as big as beans dripping from his hand. Gazing blankly at the rain, he couldn't help recalling his past. My name is Xiao Bai. People called me a 28-year-old good for nothing. I never knew my parents and was raised by my grandfather. When I was a sophomore in high school, my grandfather passed away, suddenly leaving me an orphan. Disliking studies, I dropped out early and started working odd jobs. At 20, I met a girl who was also a migrant worker. Her name was Chu Xian, a dreamlike name. With similar backgrounds, we soon got together. She was the first person to make me feel close after my grandfather's death, so I cherished her deeply. I had no stable job. Without even a high school diploma, I could only take on temporary labor. As long as it paid, I did any work. Though hard, I felt fulfilled because Chu Xian was pregnant with my child. Today, I finished work early and returned to our rented house, intending to surprise Chu Xian. But when I opened the door, I froze. My wife was cheating on me. Enraged, I lunged at the man. I had endured much hardship and was stronger than most. The man's pale face and weak limbs suggested he was a womanizer. He was no match for me. I pinned him down. Chu Xian tried to pull me away but couldn't. In desperation, she said words that shattered me. "Let him go. If you kill him, my child will have no father." Her words struck me like lightning. I went mad and ran out. Beep, beep, beep. The car horn interrupted Xiao Bei's memories. He saw a car about to hit a little girl. Instinctively, he ran over and pushed the girl away. Then, with a loud thud, the car sent him flying. Xiao Bei's blood was washed away by the rain, forming a small pool around him. Blood from his mouth flowed onto the red jade pendant hanging around his neck. The blood-stained jade emitted a faint red glow. This jade was given to him by his grandfather on his deathbed, and he had worn it all these years. His consciousness slowly faded. He murmured, "It seems I'm going to die. That's fine." Then closed his eyes. Didn't I die? Where is this? Xiao Bai woke up looking at the strange, cramped surroundings. This wasn't a hospital nor a morgue. Xiao Bai instinctively touched his head. Strange, why is my hair so long? What's going on? He tried to stand but could barely move in the cramped space. Looking through a glass window, he was stunned. Countless stars filled the sky. Am I out of Earth in space? Is this a spaceship? Where is this? As he pondered, a sudden surge of memories flooded in. Raditz, Kakarot, Vegeta. Isn't this Dragon Ball from my childhood? I'm Raditz. I became Son Goku's brother Raditz. After the shock, Xiao Bai accepted the fact. He touched his neck and found that his grandfather's keepsake had also crossed over. The most important thing to him. Since his past life was unsatisfactory, he decided to start anew in this one. However, Raditz's starting situation was indeed difficult. He needed to think carefully about his future path. About 30 minutes later, the spaceship landed. Raditz stepped out and stretched. Such fresh air. So this is Earth in the Dragon Ball world. Just as Raditz was enjoying nature, a voice interrupted. Who are you? Are you an alien? Raditz looked at the farmer holding the gun and couldn't help but laugh. The farmer was pointing the gun at him, yet he seemed more nervous than Raditz. Beep, beep, beep. Combat Power 5. Raditz glanced at the scouter on his eye. So this was the combat power measuring device from Dragon Ball. Raditz glanced at the farmer, ignored him, and using his original Bodis memory flew straight into the air. I can fly. So fast. Such an amazing feeling. Meanwhile, Piccolo, who was training, suddenly sensed a very powerful key. Who is this? How can it be so powerful? Could it be Goku? No, that's not it. This key is very evil. Damn it. Who is it? How can there be someone stronger than me on Earth? Here it comes. Piccolo looked up and locked eyes with Raditz, who had just arrived. Instantly, cold sweat appeared on Piccolo's forehead. Who are you? Raditz looked at the green-skinned creature. This must be King Piccolo from the original story. Wow, he looked okay in 2D, but in reality, he's so ugly I almost threw up my last meal. You're not Kakarot, but you seem afraid of me. Piccolo was instantly furious. How dare you? I, the great King Piccolo, being talked to like this. Do you know who I am? I, the great King Piccolo, am afraid of you. Believe me, I'll kill you right now. Raditz smiled calmly. Oh, really? Then why is your face scared green? Ha ha ha. Raditz laughed heartily and flew away, heading toward another strong key. This direction should lead to Goku. Let me go see my favorite character from childhood, my little brother Kakarot. Piccolo watched Raditz fly away, muttering, "Damned bastard. How dare he look down on me?" Meanwhile, Sun Wukong and the others gathered at Gue Xianren's house simultaneously sensed a powerful and evil aura rapidly approaching their direction. Who are you? You're not from Earth, are you? What do you want on Earth? Sun Wukong said to La Dizzy in the air. Kakaluot, we finally meet. Let me introduce myself. I am your elder brother Raditz from planet Vegeta. We are the Saiyans, a warrior race. Beep beep beep, combat power 334, not bad. The crowd was stunned upon hearing this. Brother. Sun Wukong's brother. You've got the wrong person. I'm not Kakarot, I am Sun Wukong. I am from Earth, not a Saiyan. Sun Wukong argued. Don't deny it. That child is your son, right? His tail proves everything. Tails are unique to us Saiyans. You were sent to this planet because of your low combat power at birth with the purpose of killing everyone on this planet. The crowd exclaimed. What? Kill all Earthlings? Colin tremblingly looked at Raditz and said, Sun Wukong is kind, he is not like you Saiyans. He would never harm Earthlings. Sun Wukong has always protected Earth. He is different from you Saiyans. Raditz ignored the little bald man and turned to Sun Wukong. Whether you admit it or not, you are a Saiyan. When we Saiyans see the full moon, we transform. After transformation, we become extremely powerful. But your tail is gone, so you probably can't transform anymore. Then Xianren also explained his past to Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong now believed it. Grandpa. I was the one who killed Grandpa. Even if I am a Saiyan, so what? What is your purpose here? Wukong said. Enough talk, let's fight. Let me see your strength. If that is your wish, so be it. With that, Wukong immediately used the flight technique and punched at Raditz. Raditz, seeing Wukong's fist painfully slow, turned and kicked him in the stomach, sending him crashing to the ground. Raditz looked down at Sun Wukong. Aren't you going to take off those clothes? Oh, you noticed? Alright, I'll take them off and fight you. Oh, you noticed? Alright, I'll take them off and fight you. So Wukong took off his gravity training suit. Beep beep beep, combat power 416. Not bad, quite an improvement. After taking off the suit, Wukong flew directly towards Raditz in the air, and they engaged in a fierce mid-air battle. Of course, Raditz did not use his full power to end it quickly. His purpose in provoking Wukong was firstly to spar with him, and secondly to better train his own body through combat. The two fought back and forth in the air, but Wukong clearly felt strained, while Raditz appeared relaxed and Raditz was becoming more proficient with his body. I've had enough fun. Time to settle this. In an instant, Raditz flashed behind Sun Wukong and punched him directly in the back. Ah! Wukong screamed. Dad! Wukong! The people below watched with concern. Then Raditz started pummeling Wukong in the air, raining blows, and finally punched him back to the ground. Wukong struggled to stand up. Wukong! Dad! The crowd rushed over as Wukong landed. Raditz landed and walked slowly towards Wukong. Colin stepped in front of Wukong. What do you want? Don't hurt Wukong. Raditz looked at the little bald man sweating profusely and trembling and found it amusing. Don't worry, I won't hurt him. Nor will I hurt you. Then he crushed the scouter. The crowd thought they misheard. Little green man, come out. Damn it. I bike the great demon king, how dare you address me like that? I'll kill you. You couldn't even beat Sun Wukong, what right do you have to kill me? Raditz said dismissively. What did you mean by that? Didn't you say you would kill all Earthlings? Now you say you won't hurt us. Colin looked at Raditz. Raditz glanced at him. Little bald man, do you really want me to kill all Earthlings? No, no. Colin waved his hands repeatedly. Then Sun Wukong was helped up by the others. What is your real purpose? Are you really not going to harm Earthlings? Raditz looked at Sun Wukong. Kakarot, I originally came here to take you and us to conquer other planets. The planet Vegeta where we Saiyans lived was destroyed by a meteor. Now there are only 4 Saiyans left, including you. Sun Wukong was unwilling to attack other planets. I will not go with you to attack other planets. Give up on that idea. Raditz glanced at him. Kakarot, rest assured that was indeed my original intention. But now I have changed my mind. Raditz was no longer the same Raditz. Since he had been reborn, how could he walk the old path and go to his death? Moreover, in his memory, he was often bullied by Vegeta and Nappa. He did not want to live his old life. And above all, there was Felicia who could kill the Saiyans at any time. He had to change. He decided to use the memories of his past life and this opportunity on Earth to make a real change. What do you mean? And confusion rippled through the crowd. And we Saiyans serve under Frieza carrying out his bidding. But after all these years, I've grown utterly weary of this existence. And I only endured it to stay alive. Now, however, I wish to rebel. And the scout device I just crushed contained a surveillance module. Everything that transpired here will be transmitted instantly to 2 other Saiyans stationed on a distant planet. And once they detect the device's destruction, they will almost certainly come to Earth. And when they arrive, they will slaughter every human being here before selling the planet itself. And by the way, each of them possesses combat power over 10 times greater than mine. And what? And impossible. Stronger than you? And the crowd exclaimed in unison. And stronger than me. I'd truly like to test my strength against them. Goku mused aloud. And how long will it take for them to reach Earth? And approximately 1 year, Raditz replied. and therefore you must train rigorously during tea. Goku glanced at Krillin, then turned toward Raditz. And I trust you? And this year I will train without cease, and I will defeat those two Saiyans. And when it's over I hope we can fight again. May I? And Raditz stepped forward, flicked Goku sharply on the forehead and said, You this and you that. No respect for elders? And I am your elder brother, you insolent brat. And Goku yelped in pain, Ow, that stings? And Raditz turned his gaze to Gohan and asked, feigning ignorance, What is your name? And son, Yukong. Fan, Gohan stammered. And you should call me uncle. And Gohan stared at this man, the same one who had just wounded his father, whose fearsome visage nonetheless held a faint trace of warmth. With visible effort he whispered, Uncle? And, humph. And Raditz grunted satisfied, and the others exhaled in quiet relief. Though his aura still carried an undercurrent of dread, Raditz now seemed remarkably composed. Gentler even, for now Earth was safe. Are, elder brother? And Goku uttered the title awkwardly. And what are your plans now? And why not come to Mount Paozu? Stay at my home. And Gohan echoed Goku's invitation. And yes, please come stay with us, uncle. And Raditz looked at them and smiled. And I may visit someday, but for now training comes first. And Gohan possesses extraordinary potential. With proper cultivation he will become a formidable warrior. And Goku cast a skeptical glance at Gohan and murmured, Gohan, but Shishi. And, across the cosmos on a distant planet, and Vegeta suddenly spoke, Raditz's scout device has exploded. And Nappa reacted with disbelief. Impossible. Could there be someone on Earth stronger than Raditz? And no, he deliberately crushed it himself. And it seems Raditz no longer accepts our authority, and seeks to break free. And Nappa spat contemptuously, Humph. This weakling dares betray us. He clearly needs another lesson. And Vegeta fixed Nappa with a cold stare, and board the ship. We depart for Earth. And I will see for myself what gives. Raditz now wielded Ki with absolute mastery, his command bearing no resemblance to his former self. His strength had multiplied many-fold. Yet more profoundly the month spent under the Guardian's tutelage had transformed his very essence. Gone was the volatile, bloodthirsty aura. He now radiated serene composure. Every fiber of his being responded with flawless precision to his will. He had exhausted all teachings available at the lookout. It was time to enter the hyperbolic time chamber. Thank you, Bubbles, Raditz said sincerely. And it is my duty. Nothing more, Bubbles replied gently. And following Bubbles, Raditz arrived at the chamber's entrance. And this is where it begins. Enter whenever you are ready. But remember, 1 day outside equals 1 year within, and no one may remain inside longer than 2 days. If you exceed that limit, you will never emerge. And Raditz bowed deeply, and understood. Thank you, Master Bubbles. And time passed swiftly. In the gravity training chamber, Raditz lay motionless on the ground, his body covered in wounds, blood oozing from both his injuries, and his mouth, his clothes in tatters. I was careless, truly careless. I let this happen to myself. Damn it, my body hurts so much that I can't move at all. Raditz gritted his teeth and exclaimed. He had been continuously training in the gravity chamber, his strength growing, yet he was still not satisfied. He wanted to use the Saiyan near-death revival to enhance his power. After experiencing the thrill of a massive increase in combat strength from his first revival, Raditz had become somewhat addicted to this self-destructive training method. However, this time he had gone too far. Under 100 times the gravity, he had unleashed all his might against himself, and ironically, he had dropped the last senzu bean on the ground. Although it was only 10 meters away, lying there now, moving even a little would inflict unbearable pain. Slowly Raditz closed his eyes. Just as he thought he was about to die, a peculiar energy enveloped his entire body, and he could see his wounds healing at a visible rate. Raditz suddenly opened his eyes. This strange energy made him feel incredibly comfortable, and he could clearly sense that the source of this energy was the red gem around his neck. About 3 minutes later, Raditz's wounds had completely healed, and he felt his strength had increased significantly compared to before. Unlike the combat power gained from the near-death revival this time, he felt his strength had risen to a level unimaginable for his former self. He understood that this revival and the increase in power were undoubtedly connected to the gem his grandfather had given him. Revived Raditz jumped up excitedly. I can take on 10 Friezas. Of course, this was just a thought born from his suddenly inflated power. Raditz took the red gem from his neck and examined it closely. It seemed that the red gem left for him by his grandfather was quite remarkable. Perhaps his transmigration was also related to this. However, I had never discovered the use of this red gem before today. It seems that it heals me and brings me back to life when I am close to death. The reason I didn't notice it before during my training might be that I had already consumed a senzu bean before it had a chance to take effect. Raditz carefully felt his body, noticing not just an increase in combat power, but also some subtle changes in his body. It seems that the function of this red gem is not as simple as I imagined. I need to study it thoroughly in the future. Gurgle Raditz looked at his uncooperative stomach. It was time to go out and replenish some energy. He then opened the door to the gravity chamber and walked out. After just a few steps, he saw Tais returning from outside and said to her, "Is there anything to eat? I'm really hungry." Tais glanced at Raditz, her face suddenly turning red. She exclaimed, "Ah, pervert. Why aren't you wearing any clothes?" Raditz immediately checked his body, realizing that his training had destroyed his clothes, and due to the red gem incident he hadn't noticed. Now his bare body was exposed in front of Tais. Embarrassed, Raditz said, "Sorry, I destroyed my clothes during training. Could you help me prepare a set of clothes and some food? I'm a bit hungry." Tais, blushing, turned to leave, but was thoughtful enough to prepare what Raditz needed. Having eaten and drunk enough, Raditz approached Tais and said, "I apologize for earlier. By the way, I heard from Bulma that you went out to collect material for your novel. Why are you back so suddenly?" Tais looked at Raditz, wondering if it was her imagination, but she felt Raditz seemed a bit more handsome, her cheeks flushing again. Quickly she regained her composure and glared at Raditz, saying, "This is my home. Do I have to ask for your opinion when I come back?" Tais recalled Raditz running around naked in her house, which made her furious. "By the way, didn't you say you would tell me a story about aliens?" Raditz thought for a moment and replied, "Those two Saiyans will arrive on Earth in less than a month. Once I deal with them, I'll have time to tell you the story." Tais felt Raditz was brushing her off, which made her a little angry, but she didn't say anything more. At that moment, Bulma suddenly approached. "Sister, when did you come back? And you, this training fanatic, actually came out. What were you and my sister talking about?" Raditz glanced at Bulma and casually replied, "I was telling your sister an alien story." Tais shot Raditz a glare and nodded. She didn't want her sister to know she had seen a man naked, or else she would surely be laughed at. Tais then smiled at Bulma, saying, "I came back to get something. I'll be leaving soon." Bulma felt a bit unhappy when she heard her sister was leaving soon, but she supported her sister's decision, knowing what she liked. Before long, Tais indeed left. Bulma walked up to Raditz and asked, "Is there something going on between you and my sister?" Raditz replied nonchalantly, "There's nothing, you're overthinking it. Your sister isn't as formidable as that little bald guy." Bulma instantly frowned and said, "You men aren't normal at all, especially you Saiyans, just like little son, only know how to fight." She then asked Raditz, "Isn't it almost a year? Are you going to stay in the gravity chamber?" Raditz smiled and said, "No, my current strength is more than enough to deal with those two. I've been training on Earth for so long, it's time to relax a bit. I also want to take a good look around here to see this environment that is both familiar and unfamiliar to me." Bulma listened to Raditz's somewhat nonsensical words without paying much attention. She simply said, "Oh," and left. A month passed quickly. On this day, two uninvited guests arrived on Earth. Two spaceships descended rapidly from the sky, piercing through the Earth's surface before landing on the ground, unleashing two powerful and terrifying auras that shattered the tranquility of the Dragon Ball warriors' training. Far away in the heavenly temple, Krillin, Tien, and others simultaneously sensed the auras of Vegeta and Nappa. Cold sweat instantly dripped down their shining bald heads. "What a frightening aura," Krillin said, clenching his fists with a tense expression. Although they were mentally prepared for the Saiyans' arrival, they never expected it to come so quickly, nor did they anticipate just how terrifying their auras would be. Feeling the terrifying aura of the newcomers, Yamcha sighed and said to the others, "They're here, let's go." Yamcha, Tien, and Kairatsu exchanged glances and nodded in agreement. They had been diligently training in the heavenly temple for this day, and soon they soared out of the temple toward the direction of the two auras. Meanwhile, the meditating Piccolo also opened his eyes, gritting his teeth and unconsciously sweating coldly. Like the others, Piccolo did not expect the opponent's auras to be so powerful. Reluctantly he murmured, "Although I haven't seen that annoying guy at full strength, he should be enough to handle it." He then turned to Gohan and said, "Let's go." "Yes, Uncle Piccolo," Gohan replied. The two then headed towards the direction of the approaching aura. On the other side, Raditz, who was enjoying a sunbath, also sensed the information about Vegeta and Nappa. A confident smirk appeared on his lips. "They've arrived. I can hardly wait," he said, leisurely sitting up and flying towards Vegeta's direction. At the landing site of the spaceships, a crowd of onlookers gathered, unaware of the impending doom and curiously watching the scene unfold. At that moment, the doors of the two spaceships slowly opened and two figures emerged, a bald, muscular man and a proud little dwarf. "So this is Earth. Looks pretty good," Nappa said as he stepped out of the spaceship, glancing around. "Indeed, it's quite nice. We should be able to sell it for a good price," Vegeta agreed. Without a hint of fear towards the onlookers, Vegeta and Nappa appeared somewhat annoyed. Nappa then remarked, "What weaklings, just a bunch of trash," before unleashing a ki blast towards the crowd, instantly erupting in explosions as Earthlings perished and cried out in anguish. Observing the chaos, Vegeta did not stop Nappa, but instead wore a slight sinister smile, allowing the excited Nappa to unleash ki blasts upon the Earth. Nappa emitted a terrifying aura, hurling the gathered energy downwards, obliterating a bustling city in an instant. He laughed joyously in the sky. "That should suffice. If we destroy too much, we won't get a good price for it," Vegeta cautioned Nappa. Upon hearing Vegeta's words, Nappa dared not refute him even in his excitement and obediently ceased his attack. Before long the Dragon Ball warriors flew before Vegeta and Nappa. Vegeta glanced at the crowd but did not see the person he was looking for. "Where are Kakarot and that traitor Raditz?" he inquired. "What are they hiding in fear knowing we are coming?" Vegeta taunted the crowd. Krillin stepped forward, his legs trembling uncontrollably, and said, "Goku and Raditz will be here shortly. Do you want to wait for them?" Nappa immediately frowned. "Those two low-class warriors think they deserve our time." However, Vegeta replied, "Fine, as you wish, I will wait for them. I want Raditz to know the consequence of betraying me." Hearing Vegeta's words, Nappa did not dare to say more. Then Vegeta added, "Hey Nappa, let the Cybermen play with them for a bit." The first to face off was Yamcha. Nappa used his scouter to check Yamcha's battle power. Power level 50 garbage. But just as Yamcha engaged the Cybermen, beep, battle power 1480. What's going on? How can his power level surpass that? Vegeta turned to Nappa and said, "I'm getting a bit tired of waiting. Nappa, go up and play with them. Since they're not coming, then let's kill them all." Nappa exclaimed, excitement coursing through him, unable to hold back any longer as he charged forward. Piccolo, seeing this, also rushed in to help, and the two engaged in a fierce battle. Nappa glanced at Piccolo. "So a Namekian thinks he can be my opponent?" Piccolo and the deity in the heavenly temple overheard Nappa's words, realizing that he might be a Namekian himself, which explained why he was different. Vegeta frowned as he watched the two fighting in the sky and shouted at Nappa, "Hey Nappa, finish this battle quickly." Nappa heard Vegeta's command. Although he wanted to play a bit longer, he dared not disobey, and then unleashed all his strength. Seeing Piccolo at a disadvantage, the others rushed in to help, but they forgot about the Cybermen's presence, triggering a chaotic brawl. Tien watched as Nappa overpowered Piccolo, and immediately fired a key cannon at Nappa. Although Nappa dodged, he was still furious and charged at Tien, sending him flying with a punch, then headed towards Tien's landing spot. Kairatsu, seeing Tien in danger, rushed forward without hesitation and hugged Nappa. Suddenly there was an explosion and everyone turned to look at Nappa. "Kairatsu!" Tien shouted. After a cloud of smoke cleared, Kairatsu had turned to dust following his self-detonation. However, Nappa remained unscathed, igniting the emotions of the crowd. Kairatsu was different from Yamcha. He had already been revived once, and the dragon on Earth could no longer bring him back. "Prince Vegeta, I am late," a voice echoed. "The esteemed Prince Vegeta, I, Raditz, have arrived late." A voice echoed as Raditz stepped before Vegeta. "Oh, you traitor, finally dare to show up," Vegeta scoffed, looking at Raditz disdainfully. "Of course, after such a long absence, I had to come and check on our Saiyan Prince," Raditz replied. "However, it seems you haven't made much progress, have you? Not only has your combat power barely increased, but you haven't grown taller either." Raditz teased, glancing at Vegeta, and then turned to the others and said, "You all can step back. I'll handle these two." Vegeta, infuriated that Raditz dared to mock his height, prepared to strike. At this moment, Nappa suddenly interjected, "Prince Vegeta, leave this waste to me. There's no need for you to get your hands dirty." Vegeta shot a cold glance at Nappa and said, "Kill him." Nappa confidently replied, "Understood." He then turned to Raditz and said, "Let me see if this waste has made any progress during this time." Beep, combat power 5. Nappa looked at Raditz in disbelief. How could this guy suddenly become so weak? Truly a waste. Vegeta noticed Nappa's misunderstanding and warned him, "Raditz has likely learned how Earthlings control their combat power. Give it your all and kill him." Though Nappa was reckless, he wasn't completely mindless. Despite his deep-seated contempt for Raditz, he decided to unleash all his strength. Raditz looked at Nappa, recalling how this guy used to bully him frequently. Although he was no longer the same person he once was since he had taken over another's body, he might as well take this opportunity for revenge. In an instant, Raditz unleashed his aura, and at the same moment the scouters worn by Vegeta and Nappa exploded. Both exclaimed in unison, "Impossible." However, just as Nappa finished saying impossible, he realized Raditz had somehow appeared beside him, swiftly landing a punch to Nappa's abdomen. A small energy blast sent Nappa flying, and he lay on the ground, severely injured, unable to muster the strength to stand. So strong. The onlookers were astounded as they witnessed Raditz effortlessly defeat Nappa. Meanwhile, Vegeta was still trying to comprehend the explosion of his scouter. Its limit was 21,000, while his combat power was only 18,000, meaning Raditz's power had surpassed his own. "Impossible, absolutely impossible," Vegeta shouted. He could not believe that, as a noble Saiyan prince, he could be outmatched by a low-class warrior like Raditz. He was convinced that the scouter must be malfunctioning. It had to be, as he was the strongest Saiyan. Raditz glanced at Vegeta and mockingly said, "It's your turn now." Vegeta, infuriated by Raditz's words, refused to believe he had been surpassed. Confidently, he declared, "If that's the case, I will personally send you on your way." Nappa, lying on the ground, desperately pleaded for help from Vegeta. Vegeta looked at Nappa and slowly approached, extending his gentle hand. Nappa, seeing Vegeta's willingness to save him, was incredulous and touched, placing his hand in Vegeta's. Then, with a wicked smile, Vegeta forcefully grasped Nappa's hand and flung him into the air. He then hurled a concentrated blast of energy at Nappa, who in his unwillingness to accept fate perished at Vegeta's hands. Waste unworthy of living, Vegeta said coldly. The others watched in shock as Vegeta killed his own partner, feeling that this man was truly terrifying. Raditz looked at the lifeless Nappa in the air and said to Vegeta, "You really are cold-blooded, and Nappa has been with you for so long and you actually killed him. It seems leaving you was the right choice." Vegeta dismissively replied, "He was already a waste. Living was merely a waste of resources. I was just being kind and sending him off. Now it's your turn." Raditz and Vegeta locked eyes. Raditz towered over Vegeta, looking down on him. "Alright, let me show you the true power of a Saiyan." Just as Raditz and Vegeta prepared to strike, a voice called out from afar, "Wait." A moment later, Goku arrived at the battlefield saying sorry for being late. The crowd was thrilled to see Goku's arrival, akin to ordinary people witnessing a hero in a past drama. Indeed, the protagonist brings with him a fanfare. Raditz glanced at Goku and said, "Kakarot, you finally made it. I thought you wouldn't show up." Vegeta added, "Kakarot, you also came. Perfect, I'll send you two brothers on your way together." Goku looked at the deceased Nappa and then said to Raditz, "Brother, you've already defeated one. Can I take care of this one? Please?" Raditz found Goku's foolishness amusing and casually replied, "Fine, I'll leave Vegeta to you. If you can't handle him, I'll step in." "Thank you." Goku expressed his gratitude. Vegeta, hearing this, immediately became furious. "Bastard, how dare you underestimate me? You might as well come at me together. Today, I'll send you both to the underworld." Raditz ignored Vegeta and stepped back from the battlefield, eager to witness the fight between Goku and Vegeta. Vegeta and Goku exchanged glances. Excited Goku said, "I'm going to make my move now." He immediately charged toward Vegeta. Vegeta, looking at Goku's approach with disdain, effortlessly dodged Goku's attack and kicked him away. "Is this all the power you have?" Vegeta scoffed. "Unleash your full strength or you won't have another chance to attack." Goku, brimming with excitement, said, "He really is strong. Alright then, since that's the case, I'll get serious. Kaioken." As Goku shouted, his combat power doubled, going from 8,000 to 16,000. With Kaioken activated, Goku leaped at Vegeta and the two engaged in fierce combat. However, with Vegeta's combat power at 18,000 and Goku's at 16,000, while using Kaioken, Goku was soon sent flying once again. Triple Kaioken. With Goku's loud shout, he unleashed the triple Kaioken, raising his combat power to 24,000. This time it was evident that Vegeta was no match for Goku, who struck him without giving him a chance to retaliate. "Damn it, how could I, the noble Prince Vegeta, lose to a low-class warrior like you? I won't accept this, I won't accept this. I must kill you, Kakarot. It seems I have to unleash my ultimate move," Vegeta shouted in rage. Vegeta looked up at the sky, seemingly searching for something, and then angrily exclaimed, "What's going on? Where's the moon?" The others watching Vegeta gaze at the sky asked in confusion, "What is he doing?" Raditz responded, "He is looking for the moon. We Saiyans transform into giant apes under a full moon, which increases our power tenfold." However, Piccolo nonchalantly stated, "That's fine. I've already destroyed the moon. Today Vegeta is destined to be defeated by Goku." Vegeta, unwilling to accept this, said, "Damn it, this planet actually has no moon. Seems I have no choice but to use that technique. Although it will cost me part of my fighting power, it's worth it to deal with you guys." Vegeta quickly created an artificial moon, while Raditz bowed his head, not wanting to turn into a mindless monster. Besides, even at his current strength, he was more than capable of dealing with a transformed Vegeta. Having experienced near-death 3 times in the gravity chamber, his fighting power had greatly increased, especially after being revived by the red orb. Although he could not estimate his current power level, he conservatively believed it to be at least over 5 million. After Vegeta created the artificial moon, he successfully transformed into a giant ape while maintaining his sanity. His power had increased tenfold. Despite losing some fighting strength from the artificial moon, he still reached around 100,000. Goku, astonished at seeing Vegeta transform into a giant ape for the first time, threw a punch at giant Vegeta. However, it didn't have the desired effect as giant Vegeta swatted him away. "Damn, he's so strong!" Goku exclaimed. "In that case, 4 times Kaioken." Goku shouted and unleashed the 4 times Kaioken, his power level reaching 32,000. From far away on King Kai's planet, North Kai saw Goku using the 4 times Kaioken and quickly called out, "Goku, you can't continue. The 4 times Kaioken has already exceeded your bonus limits." But Goku ignored North Kai's warning, using the 4 times Kaioken, while placing his hands on his waist, saying, "Kamehameha." A powerful white energy wave shot towards giant Vegeta W. However, what he didn't expect was that Raditz suddenly appeared before him with incredible speed, landing a punch on giant Vegeta's stomach, sending him flying and transforming him back into Vegeta, who then destroyed the artificial moon with a small energy blast. "Impossible, I was defeated with a single punch. How could this happen?" Vegeta, unwilling to accept defeat, was suddenly struck by a terrifying thought. Had Raditz transformed into the legendary one? Couldn't be. He was just a low-level warrior. Transforming back, Vegeta crawled toward his spaceship in a desperate and disheveled state. However, he only had one thought to preserve his life. As long as he survived, he could surely surpass Raditz after all. He was just a low-level warrior, while he himself was of noble royal blood. Moreover, it seemed he had learned a secret, the Dragon Balls spoken of by the Namekian. It appeared there was an opportunity to visit Namek. He firmly believed that the Dragon Balls must be related to the Namekian, as he had heard legends in the universe about the Namekian possessing special abilities. As Vegeta lay defeated, the others approached. Krillin looked at Vegeta, remembering the scenes of his companions, and those innocent Earthlings being killed, and couldn't help but walk toward Vegeta, wanting to end his life. Just then Goku, lying on the ground, suddenly spoke up. "Krillin, can you spare him?" Hearing this, Krillin and the other warriors were shocked. Krillin gritted his teeth and replied, "Goku, do you know what this person has done? Yamcha is dead, Kaiotsu is dead, and many innocent people have been killed by them." Goku, gritting his teeth, continued with difficulty. "Please, Krillin, I've never encountered anyone who wants me to fight so much. I want to have a fair match with Vegeta again and defeat him honorably." Krillin lowered his head and said, "All right, you have the right to be willful. Besides, he was defeated by you and your brother. As long as your brother agrees, I have no objections." Goku turned his head with difficulty to look at Raditz. "Brother, can W?" Watching Vegeta leave, Raditz approached Goku and asked, "Can you still stand up?" Goku smiled and replied, "Sorry, I have no strength left." Raditz then tossed a bean into Goku's mouth, and without hesitation Goku bit down on it, instantly healing his injuries. He jumped up excitedly, and Raditz felt Goku's energy increase slightly, realizing that their Saiyan passive ability had been triggered. After the excitement, Goku looked at Raditz in confusion and asked, "How do you have a Senzu bean?" Raditz rolled his eyes at Goku, clearly surprised that he would ask such a foolish question, but still answered, "I borrowed a few from Kakarot. I used 2 while training, and this is the last one I have left." Goku understood and suddenly smiled mischievously at Raditz. Raditz looked at the infuriating Sun Wukong and said, "Kakarot, if you have something to say, just say it instead of grinning like an idiot." Sun Wukong chuckled twice, excitedly saying, "Brother, you just defeated Vegeta with 1 move. How impressive. I feel stronger after recovering from my injuries. Can we have a match?" Raditz shook his head, refusing. Sun Wukong, displeased, replied, "Why not? Just 1 match, please." Raditz rolled his eyes at Sun Wukong, saying, "You are simply too weak right now. I have no desire to fight you. Come back when you are stronger." Upon hearing Raditz's reluctance to spar, Sun Wukong persistently followed Raditz until in the end Raditz had no choice but to agree. "Kakarot, listen closely, I will only give you 1 chance. Use your full strength," Raditz declared. Sun Wukong, excited to be sparring with someone so powerful, shouted, "Fourfold Kaioken." He unleashed all his energy and charged at Raditz. Raditz, observing Wukong's attack, appeared completely unfazed and easily dodged his strikes. At the same time, Wukong, frustrated that he couldn't even graze Raditz's clothing, stepped back a few paces and began to gather energy for the Kamehameha. "Brother, this is my strongest move. I wonder if you can handle it," Wukong said to Raditz. "Bring it on," Raditz replied, extending a hand towards Sun Wukong. A massive white energy wave flew towards him, but with a confident smile Raditz blocked Wukong's Kamehameha with 1 hand. Unbeknownst to anyone at that moment, the red gem once again began to emit a crimson glow. "Incredible!" Sun Wukong exclaimed in disbelief and excitement as he watched Raditz effortlessly withstand his attack. "Brother, I have an even stronger ultimate technique, but it requires a long charging time. However, it might be a bit dangerous. I wonder if you dare to take it on," Sun Wukong said, clenching his fists excitedly. Raditz, uninterested in small talk, replied, "I said this is your chance. Use all your techniques. Hurry up. I want to finish and go home to sleep." Sun Wukong agreed and flew into the air, raising his hands towards Raditz. "This is an ultimate technique I learned from Lord Ko called Spirit Bomb. If you can withstand this, I will concede defeat." Raditz silently watched as Wukong gathered energy in the air, waiting patiently. After a while, Wukong had amassed a significant Spirit Bomb. "Here it comes." This time Raditz did not underestimate it. Despite his strength, the power of the Spirit Bomb was not to be trifled with, as it had once defeated Majin Buu in the original story. Raditz shielded himself with both hands against the Spirit Bomb, and then his aura erupted. Sun Wukong and the onlookers were stunned, realizing Raditz was strong, but they hadn't anticipated just how strong he truly was. After the fierce battle, Sun Wukong excitedly ran over to Raditz, fidgeting as he said, "Brother, that was amazing. How did you train to become so powerful?" Raditz looked at Sun Wukong with disdain and replied, "You want to know?" Sun Wukong eagerly nodded, while those around them leaned in to listen carefully. Raditz then said, "I won't tell you." He laughed at the glum expressions of those present. However, Sun Wukong was not pleased and pouted, saying, "Don't be so stingy. Teach me how to train." Meanwhile, a helicopter suddenly landed, and from it emerged Bulma, Chi-Chi, and Master Roshi. Shishi rushed off the helicopter and ran toward Gohan, embracing him as she said, "My Gohan, are you all right? That was too dangerous." It's all your father's fault for making you participate in such perilous battles at such a young age. Gohan, why aren't you speaking? Don't scare your mom. Gohan blushing as he looked at his mother holding him and then at the onlookers said, Mom, I'm fine. You're holding me too tight, I can hardly breathe. Upon hearing Gohan was okay, Shishi released him. At that moment Krillin approached Bulma and lowering his head said, I'm sorry Bulma. Yamcha sacrificed himself. Bulma was briefly taken aback before responding, It's okay. After all, the Dragon Balls can bring him back. Everyone come here. On the helicopter everyone was chatting happily, while Raditz sat quietly meditating and suddenly heard the sound of fists clenching. He looked over to see Tien Shinhan silently clenching his fists at the back of the helicopter. The others also noticed something was off and looked over. Krillin asked, Tien, are you okay? Upon hearing Krillin's voice, Tien lifted his head, his eyes filled with tears. Kaiotsu is dead. He was revived once, so the Dragon Balls can't bring him back again. Upon hearing this everyone grew sad, and the laughter on the helicopter faded away into silence. Suddenly a voice broke the oppressive atmosphere. Perhaps there is still a way. Everyone's eyes lit up as they turned to the owner of the voice, Raditz. Tai. Suddenly another voice shattered this hard-won joy. This method is indeed quite good, but it is utterly impractical, Bulma suddenly remarked. The others puzzled asked why Bulma. Bulma explained, first, our current technology on Earth is simply insufficient to support a journey to outer space. Even if we succeed, it could take a considerable amount of time. Perhaps 10 years or even 100 years. Second, and most crucially, we have no idea where planet Namek is. Isn't this an unrealistic notion? Upon hearing Bulma's words the group felt it made sense and instantly lowered their heads. Raditz then spoke up, the spaceship issue is easy to resolve. Let's not forget that there are spaceships left behind by me and Nappa on Earth. Moreover, I had already given my spaceship to Bulma's father for research a year ago. If worst comes to worst, we can look for the spaceship that the gods used to come to Earth. As for the location of planet Namek, isn't Goku acquainted with King Kai? Perhaps he should know. At that moment King Kai's voice echoed, Goku, Raditz, I indeed know the location of planet Namek, and I can tell you. The crowd erupted in cheers. That's wonderful. Truly wonderful. Thank you so much, Lord Kai. Tianjin Fan excitedly approached Raditz saying, Mr. Raditz, thank you. Raditz smiled nonchalantly and replied, it's just a small favor. With these matters settled, everyone happily chatted about past events, while Raditz remained seated meditating. At that moment son Wukong suddenly approached Raditz, rubbing his hands together and asking, brother, what are your plans next? Raditz looked at his naive and overly concerned younger brother and said, I plan to settle on Earth. I really like it here, so I intend to find a home for myself. Upon hearing this, son Wukong's eyes lit up as he exclaimed, then you should stay at my house for the time being. After all, we are brothers. Wukong thought to himself, if Raditz lives at my house, I can spar with him anytime and see how he cultivates. I'm really clever, and as he pondered he began to grin foolishly. Son Gohan looked at Wukong curiously, feeling somewhat puzzled about when his father and uncle had become so close, but he followed his father's lead and said, yes uncle, you should stay at our house. Kiki, seeing Wukong's silly smile, covered her head. She understood Wukong too well, instantly seeing through his intentions. However, Kiki was a very traditional and conservative woman. Even though she saw through Wukong's motives, she couldn't do much about it, and smiled at Raditz saying, yes brother, Wukong and Gohan are right. You are Wukong's brother, and since you want to settle on Earth, you should stay with us. Living at Bulma's house isn't quite the same. Wukong may lack manners, but as his wife I naturally have to worry for him. Raditz looked at this family, feeling unable to refuse their warm hospitality, so he agreed, all right. Wukong then excitedly shouted, great, we can spar together. The others also caught onto Wukong's little scheme and couldn't help but laugh. Soon Raditz followed Wukong's family to Bowsy Mountain. At this time the sun had already set. Kiki prepared a clean room for Raditz and laid out a large amount of food. After eating and drinking to his fill, Raditz returned to his room and fell into a deep sleep. In his dream Raditz felt himself in a hazy state, his consciousness sensing a familiar battle. It was the contest between him and Wukong. The scenes replayed in Raditz's mind over and over. By the next day Raditz awoke to find that his mind had acquired new knowledge, specifically the King Kai Fist and Spirit Bomb that Wukong had learned from King Kai, along with his own signature move, the Kamehameha. At this moment Raditz seemed to realize something. He picked up the jade around his neck, certain it was the reason behind this. It seems that this jade's function is not limited to strengthening the body and healing. It appears to be able to record the opponent's techniques during battle and feedback them to me. Raditz felt a bit excited. While the Spirit Bomb was not particularly useful for him, the Kamehameha and King Kai Fist were exceptionally powerful moves. Initially he had been pondering how to learn the King Kai Fist, and it seemed he had truly stumbled upon a great fortune. 2 days later everyone gathered at Bulma's home. At this point a huge spaceship was parked in Bulma's yard. This spaceship was something Bulma's father had developed based on the one Raditz provided him, which he took out upon learning that everyone was heading to planet Namek. Bulma addressed the gathered crowd, saying, I wonder who will accompany me to planet Namek this time. Everyone was momentarily stunned, and Krillin stepped forward to ask, "What do you mean, Bulma? You want to go too? Aren't you afraid of the danger?" Bulma shouted back at Krillin, "What do you mean? This is my family's property. Why can't I go? Besides, what's there to be afraid of? Aren't Wukong and Raditz here? They will protect me." Krillin stepped back a few paces, startled by the fierce Bulma. Both Raditz and Wukong expressed their intention to go, while Tianjin Fan insisted that he must go this time for the sake of the dumplings. Piccolo wanted to see his hometown, and Krillin was a bit hesitant. At that moment, Gohan suddenly spoke up, "I want to go too." Kiki immediately opposed, saying, "Wukong can go, but Gohan cannot. He is destined to become a great scholar in the future, and cannot go to such a dangerous place." Hearing his mother's objection, Gohan lowered his head and said, "But I want to go. I want to see Uncle Piccolo's hometown." Wukong approached Kiki and said, "Kiki, just let Gohan go." Kiki naturally disagreed. Raditz then chimed in, "Sister-in-law, there is not much danger in going to planet Namek this time." Raditz thought to himself that they probably wouldn't encounter Frieza this time. After he went to planet Namek and unlocked his potential, he would train a bit and then deal with him. Note: Raditz was unaware that the Dragon Balls had already been leaked by Piccolo, allowing Vegeta and Frieza to listen in. Moreover, if you want Gohan to become a scholar, he needs to see more of the world. As the saying goes, reading thousands of books is not as good as traveling thousa. Gohan quickly nodded in agreement, looking gratefully at Raditz. Thus the group heading to planet Namek was finalized: Raditz, Bulma's son, Wukong's son, Gohan, Tianjin Fan, Piccolo, and a convinced Krillin. As for Yamcha, who had been revived by the Dragon Balls a day earlier, he remained on Earth. Subsequently, with everyone send off, the spaceship took off, leaving Earth behind. "We are coming, planet Namek." In the universe, an alien creature resembling a lizard was treating Vegeta in the escape pod. "All done," it said as the pod's door slowly opened. "You are healed now. You may open your eyes, Lord Vegeta." A sly smile crept across Vegeta's lips as he murmured softly, "Raditz, Kakarot, and that bunch of trash from Earth, just you wait for me." He then burst into laughter, his eyes sharp as he thought, "I have already uncovered your greatest secret. That Namekian mentioned that the Dragon Balls can resurrect others. It seems the legends of the universe are indeed true. The Namekian possesses special abilities, and is related to the fabled wish orbs. This trip to Earth has thoroughly validated that the legend is real. Raditz, that useless fool, must have become so strong because of this. Once I obtain the Dragon Balls, my noble Saiyan Prince bloodline will surely make me even stronger. At that time you, the traitor, will be doomed along with that Frieza. Ha ha ha, I Vegeta am the true Num." At this moment, not far from the base, someone overheard the conversation between Vegeta and Xiao-Yi, and a wicked smile crept across his lips. "Namek, huh? Interesting." Meanwhile, in the universe, a massive spaceship was flying towards Namek, the very one that Raditz was aboard. A piercing voice suddenly rang out. "You're so loud. Can't you let someone sleep? If you want to fight, go do it somewhere else." Bulma was yelling at Krillin and Tien, who had stopped their sparring upon hearing her shout. Krillin shrugged and said, "We can't help it. Raditz and Goku are training in the gravity chamber, and our current strength can't handle that level, so we can only spar here. Bulma, just bear with it for a bit." Bulma ignored Krillin's explanation and directly hit his shiny bald head, causing a bump to form. "Can't you learn from Piccolo? He's training too, but he's not making such a racket." With that, both Krillin and Tien glanced at the meditating Piccolo and nodded. "In the gravity train? Of course not." Raditz grinned mischievously. "Do you want to know? I can teach you." "Really? That's great. Hurry up and teach me." Goku exclaimed excitedly. "All right," Raditz said, letting out a single word before suddenly appearing in front of Goku and delivering a fierce blow to his vital points, sending Goku flying to the ground unconscious. Seeing Goku nearly dead, Raditz quickly fed him a senzu bean, instantly reviving him. "That was close, I almost died," Goku said, slightly angry after coming back to life. Even this carefree Goku was upset after nearly being killed, and he no longer addressed Raditz as his brother, expressing his displeasure. "Kakarot, feel your energy now. Isn't it much stronger?" Goku sensed himself and realized he was indeed much stronger than before, confused as he asked, "What's going on?" "It's our unique Saiyan ability. Coming back from the brink of death can significantly enhance our combat power. I've gained my current strength by experiencing Lithian." Raditz stepped out of the gravity room and saw Piccolo, Tien Shinhan, and Krillin meditating and training while Bulma was taking a beauty nap. However, he did not see Gohan. After walking around the spaceship, he found Gohan frantically catching up on his homework at a desk and walked over. "Gohan, your mother is not home again. Why are you still doing homework? Everyone else is training. You could easily be surpassed by them, and with your talent you shouldn't waste it," Raditz said, feeling a bit regretful. Gohan stopped writing upon seeing Raditz and replied, "Yes, uncle, I will be careful. I will go train as soon as I finish my homework." Raditz felt a surge of frustration at Gohan's words. He was someone he envied most before his rebirth, always possessing incredibly high training talent. Thinking of how much Vegeta had sacrificed for Super Saiyan, while this kid casually reached Super Saiyan 2. It was truly a case of the droughts dying of thirst while the floods drowned. "Gohan, 6 days later, the spaceship that Raditz was on finally arrived above planet Namek. This is planet Namek. What a beautiful planet! Gohan exclaimed curiously. Piccolo, hiding his excitement, said, Finally back to my homeland. Just then Bulma shouted, We're landing, everyone hold on tight. The spaceship descended through the atmosphere of planet Namek and landed on solid ground, the door opening slowly as everyone rushed out. Uncle Piccolo, this place looks a lot like where we train, Gohan said to Piccolo. Piccolo nodded in agreement. At that moment Bulma ran out angrily, stating, You guys have no sense of safety, how could you rush out like that? Energy. Everyone simultaneously sensed several powerful presences, and these energies felt extremely evil. Looking at the shocked faces of the group, Raditz merely smiled. It's fine, I can handle any enemy, but let's get down to business first. At that moment Raditz found it strange that Frieza and his crew had come to planet Namek. They shouldn't have known about the Dragon Ball's note at that time. The main characters had not arrived, so they were unaware that Piccolo had inadvertently let it slip, allowing Vegeta and Frieza, who was monitoring, to know. Upon hearing Raditz's words, everyone felt relieved. By the way, how do we start searching for the Dragon Balls? Tien Shinhan asked anxiously. No worries, I brought a Dragon Ball radar, Raditz replied. Wow, there are already 4 Dragon Balls gathering together, Bulma said as she pulled out a small radar device. The others gathered around to look. Meanwhile, on the other side, a tall and handsome man stated, Lord Frieza, several powerful energy signatures have suddenly appeared, but they have also suddenly disappeared. Should I go check it out? Not important, just send someone to check it. The priority is to handle that traitor Vegeta first. Frieza, sitting in a hovering wheelchair, replied. Don't worry, Lord Frieza, Choi has already caught up with Vegeta. Their strengths are evenly matched, which is enough to deal with him, the pink fat man said. Just as he finished speaking, another individual, Dodoria, interjected. That's impossible. Choi was killed by Vegeta. Frieza coldly glanced at Dodoria, saying, Is this why? Where did this little brat come from? Seeking death. Seeing Gohan and Krillin meddling, the 2 minions turned to attack them. Naturally, Gohan and Krillin's battle power was far beyond that of the 2 minions, and they quickly resolved the situation. Thank you for saving me. My name is Den, nice to meet you. The rescued Namekian expressed his gratitude to Krillin and Gohan. Ah, he looks a lot like Uncle Piccolo, Gohan curiously remarked at Dend. Krillin nodded in agreement. Yeah. Upon hearing their words, Dend looked back at Piccolo and cried. You're also a Namekian, right? So many bad people have come here. All the members of my tribe were killed, and I was the only one who escaped. Piccolo looked at Dend, feeling a strange connection. I am not. This is my first time here. At this moment Raditz interrupted their conversation. Your name is Dend, right? Dend glanced at Raditz, feeling a flicker of apprehension. The man bore the fiercest countenance among them. Yet since he stood alongside Dend's savior, he could not be wholly untrustworthy. Yes, I am Dend. May I ask what brings you here? Raditz replied. We have come to Namek for 2 purposes. First, to use the Dragon Balls to revive our fallen comrades. Second, to meet your elder guru. Dend grew cautious. How do you know of the Dragon Balls? And why seek the elder guru? Raditz looked first at Dend, then at the others assembled before him. The warriors who pursued you serve Frieza. I too once served under Frieza, but I have since turned from that dark path. Frieza is monstrous in cruelty, a being of absolute evil, known across the cosmos as the Emperor of the universe. His power is beyond dispute. Even now I cannot claim with certainty that I would prevail against him. Goku knew Raditz's strength well. So vast it seemed unattainable, yet hearing it spoken aloud stirred Dizb. Having just concealed the Dragon Balls, he was swiftly located again by Dodoria, whom he dispatched with effortless ease. Thereafter the saga unfolded like the Calabash brothers, rescuing their grandfather Salbo, soon tracked down Vegeta. I did not expect you to defeat Dodoria. That surprises me. But to betray Lord Frieza. Today shall be your final day. Salbo regarded Vegeta coolly. Ha! Spare your grand speeches, Salbo. I, Vegeta, the prince of all Saiyans, stand above all. I'll crush you first. Then once I've claimed the Dragon Balls and fulfilled my wish, I'll send Frieza to join you in oblivion. A gentle breeze stirred Vegeta's hair, as supreme confidence blazed across his face. His gaze upon Salbo brimmed with utter disdain. No sooner had the words left his lips than the two clashed violently. Vegeta held a clear edge in strength. His royal arrogance undimmed as he battered Salbo into submission. Salbo, you strut about so arrogantly. Yet this is all the power you possess. Vegeta arched a mocking brow, his voice laced with icy derision. Stung by the taunt, Salbo's fury ignited. Curse you. You leave me no choice. Though I've long refused to assume this grotesque form, killing you makes it worthwhile. Instantly his lithe frame swelled grotesquely. His once handsome features twisted into something revolting. So hideous it threatened to turn one's stomach. Vegeta burst into laughter at the sight. Ha! So this is the handsome warrior you boast of. Truly laughable. But the prince's mirth vanished in an instant. Transformed Salvo moved with blinding speed. Before Vegeta could react, a crushing blow struck his abdomen. Doubling over in agony, he collapsed to his knees, whispering in disbelief, "Impossible. This cannot be." Ignoring his protest, Salvo struck again, this time shattering Vegeta's proud visage with brutal force. Blood streamed from his nose as Salvo sneered. "So where's that cocky monkey now? The so-called Prince of the Saiyans?" Lying helpless on the ground like a broken doll. Those words pierced Vegeta's pride like a dagger. Gritting his teeth through searing pain, he lunged forward, only to be seized by the throat, hurled to the earth and pummeled relentlessly, 100 blows per second, until his body was little more than raw, trembling flesh. "Enough play. Now, Prince Vegeta, I shall grant you your final journey." Salvo gathered a terrifying surge of energy in his palm, looming over Vegeta. "Speak your last words." Cursed. Cursed. At that very moment, a radiant figure materialized between them. "Who are you?" "Kakarot." Goku gazed upon the near-lifeless Vegeta, then addressed Salvo calmly. "He no longer poses a threat. There is no need to end his life." Salvo cast a dismissive glance at Goku, clearly unimpressed. "If you wish to save him, then both of you shall die together." Without hesitation, Salvo attacked, only to find Goku's hand clamping around his fist like iron. A single kick sent him hurtling away. Instantly recognizing the chasm between their powers, Salvo shifted tone entirely. "My apologies, sir. If you are Prince Vegeta's ally, I shall spare him. Might I beg leave to depart?" Moved by compassion, Goku relented. "Go. I will not kill you." Relief flooding his veins, Salvo bowed hastily and fled, desperate to vanish. Goku watched as Raditz strode toward Vegeta, fearing he might strike him down just as he had done to Zarbin. So he rushed forward and blocked his path. "Brother, you've already killed Zarbin. Please spare Vegeta. He gave me his word. And wasn't it you who said a true man's vow is worth 1,000 gold? You mustn't break your promise. Not when I've yet to face him in an honorable battle." Raditz stared at Goku in disbelief. "Who told you you were simple-minded? You're quite sharp, aren't you? Very well. Since you've pleaded so earnestly, I leave Vegeta in your hands." Goku approached Vegeta, lifted him gently to his feet, and placed a senzu bean directly into his mouth. Instantly, the near-dead Saiyan was restored to full vitality. Revived Vegeta's aura erupted with terrifying force, surpassing even Goku's own. Raditz observed the surge with a wry smirk. "What now? Do you think resurrection makes you invincible again? If you wish to fight, I'll be happy to reduce you back to that broken state." Meanwhile, Frieza felt a pang of dismay upon learning of Zarbin's death. His trusted enforcers dwindling fast. He had no choice but to summon the Ginyu Force. An hour later, the Ginyu Force stood before him. Their entrance was theatrical, each member delivering an overwrought, self-aggrandizing introduction that even the tyrannical Frieza found faintly embarrassing. Unable to endure another moment, Frieza cut them off. "Save the choreography for next time. Go. Hunt down the traitor Vegeta and eliminate him immediately." Receiving their orders, the team activated their latest model scouters and rocketed toward Vegeta's location. At the same time, Raditz's group had already arrived at the Grand Elder's dwelling, only to be halted at the threshold by Nail, a Namekian warrior bearing a striking resemblance to Piccolo. A tense standoff ensued. "Let them enter." A calm, resonant voice echoed from within. "Yes, Grand Elder." Nail stepped aside and the group followed him inside. The Grand Elder sat serenely upon his chair, observing them with quiet gravity. "What brings you to my home?" Raditz stepped forward. "We've heard you possess the rare ability to awaken latent potential. Might you aid us in unlocking ours?" The Grand Elder studied Raditz closely. "Young one, how did you learn of this power? I sense it in you. You have taken many lives, yet no trace of cruelty lingers in your aura. May I glimpse only what I must know? Rest assured, I seek no intrusion, only truth." Raditz's voice hardened. "No, memory is sacred. No one shall peer into mine. But know this, I bear no ill will toward Namek. Should you awaken our potential, I swear to protect this world and resolve the crisis now looming over it." After a pause, the Grand Elder nodded. "Very well. Who shall go first?" Nail stepped forward, concern etched across his face. "Gee." The Elder Master withdrew from behind him a Dragon Ball larger than Earth by several times and handed it to Raditz. "I entrust the Dragon Ball to you. Remember your vow, and hasten to gather the remaining 6. I feel my strength waning. Upon my death, the Dragon Balls shall vanish forever. Rest assured, I always honor my word. What I have promised I shall not forget." Raditz nodded solemnly. At that very moment, the Ginyu Force arrived at the threshold. "Guests have arrived. Let us go out and greet them." Sensing 5 distinct auras approaching, Raditz addressed the others, and together they strode out of the chamber. Seeing the group emerge, Geese sneered, "Ah, my dear Prince Vegeta, at last we found you. How dare you betray Lord Frieza? You truly seek death." His gaze then fell upon the orb in Raditz's hand. "Raditz, you're here too. Is that the Dragon Ball? Lord Frieza will be most pleased." Raditz smirked coldly. Want it? Then come and take it. Turning to the others, he declared, Geese and that diminutive one are mine. The remaining 3 hold no interest for me. Deal with them as you wish. His eyes locked fiercely upon Guldo. In his past life, Raditz had known this man possessed the divine ability to halt time itself. A power unbefitting mortal flesh. If battle ensued, could his blood jade replicate such a gift? Note Raditz had named the red jade blood jade, henceforth it would bear that name. None objected. Their consensus was unspoken. Raditz stood unmatched in might among them. You wretched fool. Daring to challenge me? Geese scoffed. So you defeated Vegeta? Let me gauge just how strong you've... Without delay, they launched skyward, guided by Bulma's dragon radar toward Frieza's stronghold. Frieza, come out and face your doom. Taste the wrath of a Saiyan prince. Upon arrival, Vegeta bellowed into the fortress. Frieza emerged, voice dripping with venom. I never imagined it would come to this. You've slaughtered every loyal servant I possessed. Unforgivable, you low-born vermin. I'll tear you limb from limb. His gaze seared into Vegeta. Especially you, Vegeta. What arrogance makes you speak so to me? Vegeta instinctively stepped back, then glanced sideways at Raditz. Raditz met his gaze. Silent, steady. His expression unmistakable. Go on, Prince Vegeta. Didn't you complain I denied you battle? I've reserved Frieza for you alone. Consider it courtesy. Vegeta's fists clenched, sweat beading on his brow. But he advanced, teeth gritted. Cursed fate. I, Prince Vegeta, shall not retreat. Then he roared, Frieza. Vegeta roared, Frieza, come and meet your death. Frieza's sharp eyes gleamed as he let out a chilling, mocking laugh. Such empty bravado. Where does this arrogance even come from? No matter. I'll end you today and send you straight to join your foolish father. With that, he lunged forward with a devastating punch. Vegeta instantly reacted, seizing the incoming fist midair. Their hands locked in fierce grip, and raw power erupted between them as they engaged in a brutal test of strength. So this is it. Your power has indeed grown since last time. No wonder you dare speak so boldly. Frieza sneered coldly, then grew marginally more serious. In an instant, both warriors shot apart. Vegeta's cheek now slashed open, a thin line of blood tracing his face. I'm getting serious now. Don't faint from shock. In the blink of an eye, Frieza reappeared before Vegeta and delivered a single effortless blow that sent him hurtling across the battlefield. Impossible. How could he be this Foz? Vegeta lay sprawled upon the earth, writhing in agony, tears of bitter defiance streaming from his eyes. His body battered, his pride in ruins. It's over, Vegeta. With weary disdain, Frieza raised his hand to deliver the final blow. Yet before he could strike, Son Goku descended like thunder, snatched Vegeta up and hurled him toward Krillin. Krillin, give him a Senzu Bean. Goku commanded. Krillin caught the fallen warrior and immediately pressed a Senzu Bean to his lips. Now, it's my turn to fight you. Goku glanced briefly at Raditz, then fixed his gaze on Frieza. Fine, go ahead. If you fail, I'll step in. After all, the hero always appears last. Raditz remarked, calm and unruffled. Frieza studied Goku with faint curiosity. Who are you? You look oddly familiar. Almost like a Saiyan. I am Son Goku, Raditz's younger brother. A Saiyan? And a man of Earth. Frieza dismissed him with indifference. Whether Saiyan or Earthling, you die today. Then let's see if you can Namek planet. In the sky, Son Goku, his entire body radiating a crimson aura, faced off against a diminutive, grotesque monster. Goku struck first, surging toward Frieza, and the two clashed midair in a ferocious battle so intense that only Raditz could follow their movements. All others watched in dazed bewilderment. So fast, I can't even track them. All rippled through the onlookers as they witnessed the spectacle. After this brief exchange, both Vegeta and Goku gained a preliminary grasp of each other's strength. Frieza gazed at Goku and spoke. You are Son Goku, I presume. Stronger than I imagined. Worthy enough for me to learn your name. Yet you stand no chance of victory against me. Is that so? The outcome remains undecided. Though fleeting, that skirmish had already revealed Frieza's critical weakness to Goku, his inability to sense ki, and thus locate his opponent. Indeed, the tide of battle hung in delicate, uncertain balance. Goku vanished, then reappeared instantly behind Friday. As Goku was sent flying, Frieza showed no mercy. Seizing the moment of vulnerability, he unleashed a barrage of relentless energy blasts, each one striking Goku squarely. A thunderous cacophony erupted, boom, 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 filling the air with thick churning smoke. The sheer magnitude of the assault drew sharp attention from the watching warriors. Frieza's finally serious. But these attacks alone won't be enough to fell Kakarot. Raditz observed aloud. When the smoke cleared, Goku stood before them. His GI tattered and torn, his posture battered yet unbowed. Though disheveled, he bore no grievous injury. A faint defiant smile curved Goku's lips as his gaze locked once more upon Frieza. He assumed his battle stance, ready, eager, and fully immersed, to savor the next, even fiercer chapter of this titanic clash. Let us dispense with further testing. Unleash your strongest techniques now. At those words, Frieza vanished again, reappearing instantly before Goku. His fist massive as a boulder slammed into Goku's chest. In reply, Goku lashed out with a devastating kick. Their renewed combat was no longer mere sparring. It was raw, visceral, and punishing. Each blow landed with sickening impact, drawing absolute focus from both warriors. They moved faster than the eye could perceive, their fists colliding with such force that the very air warped and shimmered. This is the most exhilarated I've ever felt in my life. To be perfectly honest, I feel the same. As their duel raged on, time itself seemed to slow. Trouble. I miscalculated. 20-fold Kaioken places unbearable strain on my body. I must end this swiftly. Frieza, brace yourself for my ultimate technique, full power Kamehameha. Goku roared. Even Frieza, now vastly empowered, struggled under the cataclysmic pressure of Goku's unleashed blast. Ku, ku, ku. A sinister laugh echoed as Frieza, bloodied and scarred, rose from the shattered ruins of the earth, shocking all who witnessed it. No way, Frieza is this strong. Even Goku's mightiest attack failed to finish him. Damn it. Son Goku, your body is failing you. It appears this battle ends in my victory. Very well. Since you've given me such exhilarating sport today, I'll grant you one final glimpse of true soul-crushing despair. Behold my ultimate transformation, and perish insignificant insects in the terror of absolute hopelessness. With that, Frieza commenced his third metamorphosis. What? He can transform again? Stunned silence gripped the onlookers as a bald dwarf-like figure emerged, bathed in searing light. So, you finally deigned to face me. Raditz stepped forward calmly. Frieza burst into mocking laughter at the sight. I'd wondered who your last hope might be, ha ha ha. So it's you, Raditz. It seems the Saiyans have forgotten the dread of my Daman. Raditz, I never imagined you would ascend to Super Saiyan. Still, I wonder just how much power this so-called title truly grants you. Raditz remained unmoved. Frieza, let me speak plainly, I am not yet a Super Saiyan, but I will become one. That said, even without that title, I possess more than enough strength to dismantle you. Frieza let out a derisive chuckle. You claim you can defeat me. Saiyans, arrogant to the core, and each one boasts more wildly than the last. You surely haven't forgotten Vegeta's bravado moments ago. I am nothing like him. I surpass him. Not only in power but in every conceivable way. And I surpass you as well. Enough talk. I know you've held back, Frieza. Now, reveal your full power. I will end you, once and for all. Raditz's voice dropped low, cold, and absolute. Since you beg so insistently, very well. This benevolent sovereign shall indulge you. Let me grant you one final unforgettable experience, the crushing weight of absolute power. With a guttural roar, veins bulged across Frieza's temples as his aura surged violently upward. 60%, 90%, 100%. This is my complete power. My battle power, a staggering 120 million. You lowly creatures are blessed beyond measure to witness this form. The pinnacle of perfection. Now die. All of you. Frieza raised a single finger, its tip coalescing a vortex of annihilating energy. Death beam. Die. Frieza roared, unleashing his death beam in all directions toward Raditz. Unfazed Raditz merely curled a faint smile at the corners of his lips and bellowed, Kaioken! Instantly a crimson aura, identical to Goku's, blazed around his body. Goku gasped in astonishment. What? How can you use Kaioken too? Advancing steadily toward Frieza, Raditz moved with subtle, precise grace. The dense barrage of death beams struck nothing but empty air. None so much as grazed him. Unbelievable. You've grown this strong behind my back. Saiyans truly are a revolting inferior race. Today I shall expend the barest effort to eradicate every last one of you detestable monkeys. Then you'd better have the strength to back it up, Raditz retorted. And without another word he launched himself forward. At tenfold Kaioken, he clashed midair with Frieza in his final form. Their speed was blinding, their strikes ferocious. Hundreds of exchanges flashed by in under 5 seconds, leaving only afterimages. Frieza's assaults were vicious and ruthless. Yet Raditz's defense stood unbroken, an impenetrable wall. Flesh met flesh with thunderous tearing impacts that rent the very air. The ground trembled violently beneath their cataclysmic struggle. Incredible! Krillin stared dumbfounded. Indeed, Raditz is far stronger than I imagined, even surpassing Goku now. Piccolo nodded gravely. Goku himself watched, eyes alight with exhilaration. Truly awe-inspiring. I must train harder than ever. While the others watched with hopeful wonder, Vegeta bristled with simmering fury. Clenching his jaw, brow knotted tight until the stone in his fist crumbled to dust. Damn it! Kakarot and Raditz. Both have overtaken me. How? They're low-class warriors. I am Prince Vegeta. I will defeat them. Even as Vegeta seethed, the aerial duel ended. Both fighters landed hard on the earth. Raditz's battlesuit hung in tatters. Both bore deep wounds. But Raditz appeared the worse for wear. Frieza still could scarcely believe it. A lowly monkey had pushed him, genius scion of the Frost Demon clan, to this brink. Since birth, only his elder brother and father had ever drawn blood from him. Cursed monkey! You dare wound my exalted body? I will erase you. Enraged beyond reason, Frieza unleashed his full aura. Chilling waves of killing intent surging outward. Raditz recoiled instinctively, every hair on his body standing on end, turning just as Frieza bellowed, "Die!" The first blow struck like a meteor, shattering Raditz's upper armor into fragments. Blow after blow followed, then a brutal uppercut slammed into Raditz's jaw, launching him backward in a violent arc, skidding dozens of meters across the cracked earth before grinding to a halt. "Behold the gulf between you and me," Frieza declared, coldly, gathering energy for his next assault. Boom, boom, boom. One colossal energy sphere after another detonated upon impact. The land-convulsed mountains shuddered, and Tien Shinhan, "Ha ha ha, trash remains trash. That is the price of defying me." Frieza crowed triumphantly. Has Master Raditz truly fallen? Even he couldn't withstand such might. Tien Shinhan murmured, crestfallen. Goku frowned deeply, analyzing the silence. No, something's off. Though he's wounded, his ki remains steady. I suspect he hasn't even begun to fight seriously. Barely had Goku spoken when Raditz stirred, then rose slowly, climbing from the crater with deliberate calm. He stood again before Frieza, broad-shouldered and immovable, a mountain rooted in defiance. My apologies. The warm-up is over. Frieza's face twisted in disbelief. You actually... Impossible. Impossible. A wretched Saiyan. How could you survive my full power untouched? His voice cracked with raw denial. Frieza's features contorted. His composure shattered, his pride in ruins. Raditz brushed dust from his shoulders, then cracked his knuckles. One sharp rhythmic pop after another, as if preparing for the true contest. His expression was serene, his bearing refreshed. Only his tattered battle suit betrayed the earlier onslaught. His wounds seemed not to hinder him. Rather, they ignited his fervor, sharpening his focus and kindling his spirit. You've already exhausted your utmost strength, while I haven't yet lifted a finger. Now, the real battle begins. 15-fold Kaioken. Raditz assumed his stance, and in an instant the crimson aura surged anew. His battle power soared past 150 million. Rivaling Goku's peak as a Super Saiyan, far eclipsing Frieza's 120 million. Frieza's face paled in sheer terror. The others' expressions shifted instantly, from dread to radiant hope. Especially Goku, whose blood burned with exhilaration at witnessing Raditz's Kaioken ascend to such godlike heights. The sheer force Raditz unleashed made the earth itself quake, shaking every soul to their core, leaving them awestruck and breathless. Frieza gritted his teeth, eyes locked on Raditz. Then in the blink of an eye, Raditz vanished. Panic seized him. Where did he go? A voice sounded softly behind him. I'm right behind you. Trembling, Frieza turned. Slowly, fearfully. His face frozen in horror. As Frieza turned away, a fist the size of a sandbag struck his face, blood mixed with saliva spraying into the air as his body was sent flying. Before Frieza could hit the ground, Raditz had already appeared before him again, delivering a fierce knee strike to Frieza's abdomen. Ah! Frieza cried out in pain, soaring into the sky. Raditz reappeared in front of him, hands tightly clasped, as he delivered a solid blow to Frieza's back, sending him crashing to the ground. Raditz looked down at the ground where Frieza was clutching his abdomen tightly, wiping the blood from his mouth before standing up again. Indeed, tough skin and thick flesh. To be able to stand after that is quite impressive for a punching bag, Raditz mocked. Frieza, gritting his teeth in agony, his veins bulging, narrowed his pupils with rage. Damn it, that filthy monkey, die! Frieza shouted, throwing a punch at Raditz, but to his surprise it merely struck air as Raditz vanished like a ghost. Unable to sense Raditz's presence, Frieza searched around frantically, yet he could not determine Raditz's location. Seeing Frieza in a frantic state, Raditz seized the opportunity and kicked him in the lower back, sending Frieza flying away, followed by a ki blast to finish him off. The immense force left Frieza feeling as if he were being torn apart, rolling across the ground until he finally crashed into a mountain, coming to a stop. This time Frieza was completely panicked. Raditz's merciless assault made him acutely aware of the gap between their strengths. His body was already severely injured, and as he looked at Raditz, fear filled his eyes. With every step Raditz took towards him, he felt himself drawing closer to death. Great! Raditz has won! He is truly amazing! Krillin exclaimed joyfully. Damn it, I didn't expect him to really win. Raditz, I must surpass you. I will prove that I am the strongest Saiyan. Vegeta said begrudgingly. Please spare me. I can offer a planet. No, I'll give you all my planets, just let me go this once. Frieza watched Raditz approach, having lost his composure. He didn't want to die and was hoping for a chance to make a comeback. Hey, I never thought the mighty Emperor of the universe would plead for mercy. What a surprise, Raditz mocked. To beg for mercy from a powerhouse like you is an honor, Frieza retorted. Is it? But I have no intention of letting you go, Raditz replied sarcastically. Damn it, I've lowered myself to this extent. In that case, let's die together. Just as Frieza prepared to self-destruct, a voice rang out. Upon hearing it, Frieza, who had been ready for death, suddenly smiled. Frieza, my dear brother, I can't believe you've been beaten down. Brother, I didn't expect you to come too. I heard there are Dragon Balls here that can grant any wish, so I came specifically to help you find them, Cooler said. Moreover, I've already found 5. The remaining 2 are in the hands of this group. If you kill them, you can attain immortality. Frieza looked at Cooler, having found a lifeline. It was the first time he felt a sense of admiration for Cooler. He thought to himself, how come I never realized how adorable Cooler is before? Really? You came specifically to find them for me? Are you really that kind-hearted? Cooler asked Frieza. Of course, brother, you are like a blood brother to me. Frieza replied, adopting a sycophantic demeanor. Dear brother, as long as you kill this person you can attain immortality, and I can bask in a bit of that glory as your younger brother. He continued. But this is your battle. It wouldn't be proper for me to interfere. Why don't you finish this up first and then I'll step in? Upon hearing this, Frieza paused, realizing that his brother intended to use the Saiyans' hand to eliminate him. It seemed he would have to make a significant sacrifice. He quickly thought of a response. Brother, you jest. With you here, I wouldn't even have the chance to intervene. You are the true emperor of the universe, the strongest. I've already decided to give you all my planetary assets. Cooler laughed at Frieza's flattery. Although he disliked his brother, he couldn't help but feel amused. I can't believe it, aside from my father and me, there's someone else who can defeat Frieza, but you will never be my match. Cooler declared. Your strength is quite impressive. I'll give you a chance. If you're willing to serve as my subordinate, I can spare you. From now on you'll only be beneath me. Consider it well. Cooler looked at Raditz's strength and felt a sense of admiration for his talent, unable to bear the thought of killing such a powerful being. No one knows the outcome of a battle that hasn't been fought. I will not be anyone's dog, Raditz replied sternly. Ha ha ha, do you have any idea how many people in the universe want to be my dog, and I still refuse them? Since you are so ungrateful, I'll have to follow my brother's advice and kill you instead. Come on, let's fight. Cooler. The chapter ends here. I have observed your battle with Frieza just now. Your strength is indeed commendable. Thus, out of respect, I shall unleash power far surpassing his. Guldo spoke, and instantly his body blazed with radiant light. In a single motion, he ascended to his ultimate form. Behold! This is my final transformation. Unlike Frieza, I possess an additional tier of metamorphosis, rendering my might vastly superior. Numerically speaking, my battle power stands at 450 million. Are you trembling yet? Impressive, but supremacy is decided only in combat. Against Frieza, I did not even wield my full strength. Though Raditz spoke with defiant calm, inwardly, he harbored grave doubt. Yet a man does not flinch. So he unleashed his aura without restraint, confronting Guldo with absolute resolve. 20-fold Kaioken. His battle power surged to approximately 200 million. A faint sinister smirk curled Guldo's lips. He was genuinely pleased with Raditz's prowess, and for a fleeting moments later the infernal blaze from the explosion dissolved into the air, and the smoke gradually dispersed. Shattered debris rained down upon the scorched earth, revealing before Guldo a colossal yawning crater. At its bottom, Raditz knelt on blood-soaked hands and knees. His body lacerated by countless wounds, battered beyond recognition. Gasping raggedly, he whispered hoarsely, I survived. Guldo strode forward, voice edged with rare excitement. Unbelievable. I poured immense energy into that blast, yet you still live. Your tenacity commands genuine admiration. One last chance, swear fealty to me and I shall grant you vast authority. On one condition, you must slaughter every so-called comrade you hold dear as proof of your loyalty. What say you? Bloodied and broken, Raditz rose slowly. His gaze locked unflinchingly onto Guldo, eyes burning with unwavering conviction. I may not be a paragon of virtue, but I would sooner die than serve a despicable wretch like you. Nor wow. Raditz's titanic fist slammed forward, trailing a maelstrom of explosive ki. Yet Guldo halted it effortlessly with a single finger. Bereft of reason, Raditz rained blow after blow upon his foe, yet could not even graze Guldo's form. Guldo soon grew weary of the spectacle. With sudden ferocity, he lunged and struck Raditz square in the torso, sending him hurtling backward, blood streaming from his snarling visage, his massive frame skidding violently across the earth before slamming into a mountainside. Tiring of the contest, Guldo descended, stomped viciously upon the fallen Raditz, then soared skyward, reconcentrating devastating energy in his palm before hurling it downward. Lying supine, Raditz's eyes were hollow, devoid of the crimson fury of the great Saiyan. In absolute darkness, naked and adrift, his consciousness stirred anew. The blood jade's prolonged psychic refinement had reached its culmination with a jolt. Raditz's eyes snapped open, flooding the void with incandescent light. On the battlefield of Raditz, a colossal gorilla radiated crimson flames across its body, standing firmly on the ground as it gazed skyward. Yet its voice was unmistakably human. Frieza, you never expected this, did you? Your assault failed to kill me. Instead, it forged me into something far more powerful. Now, I not only command this transformed state, but can further amplify my power with the Kaioken. At that moment, Raditz's battle power surged tenfold in his great Saiyan form, while the Kaioken at 20-fold magnification multiplied his base strength by the same factor, pushing his total combat capability to approximately 300 million. Frieza stared in disbelief at the transformed Raditz, then broke into a sinister grin. How astonishing! You've grown stronger still, but do you truly believe such power makes you my equal? How naive! Slaying you now will bring me far greater satisfaction than before. You were pitifully weak then, and so Raditz and Frieza clashed. Vegeta, let's begin with you, the traitor. With those words, Frieza vanished from sight. Vegeta, watch out behind you! Goku cried out. Vegeta whirled around just in time to see Frieza reappear inches before him. He threw a furious punch, but Frieza tilted his head, slightly evading it effortlessly. In one fluid motion, he spun and lashed out with his tail, sending Vegeta hurtling backward. Frieza shot forward, drove a brutal elbow into Vegeta's side, and sent him crashing onto the earth with a pained cry. Then Frieza landed, seized Vegeta's hair, and yanked him upright, pummeling him again and again, each blow echoing with cold contempt. Vegeta, do you regret your choice? Saiyans, low-born brutes whose sole purpose is battle. You were the only one who intrigued me, so I favored you above all others. Yet, even you betrayed me just like those wretched monkeys. Well, how does defiance against me feel? Vegeta lay broken, unable to rise, his confidence utterly shattered. Is Son Goku the vanquished? Frieza sneered, extending a single finger toward Goku, as successive waves of energy blasts erupted from its tip and soared toward him. Goku deflected each with one hand, then retaliated with his own ki blasts. Their exchange reduced surrounding mountains to rubble, choking the air with thick, acrid smoke. Piccolo watched awestruck. Goku's strength has deepened once more. Even Frieza showed faint surprise. Remarkable. Your power has risen considerably in such short time. Yet no matter how far you climb, you remain beneath me. Goku said nothing. He knew Frieza spoke truth. Though Frieza fought below his peak, Goku held no certainty of victory. Once more Goku launched himself forward, hundreds of afterimages blurring across the sky as fists collided, each impact rippling the very air into visible tremors. High above, their duel had escalated beyond mortal intervention. Frieza's tail coiled tightly around Goku's torso. Desperate, Goku sank his teeth into it. Wretched fool! Daring to bite the great king's tail. Frieza exploded with wrath. His fist crashed into Goku's abdomen, and this time Goku could no longer trade blows. He was overwhelmed. Crushed, helpless, battered, without reprieve. Die! Just as Frieza prepared the killing strike, a searing laser blast severed his tail midair. He turned. Piccolo stood there. Oh, you seem different now. No matter. I'll dispose of you first. Piccolo had fused with Nail, transcending his former limits. But even this newfound might proved no match for Frieza. In barely 3 exchanges he fell, crushed beneath Frieza's foot. Such paltry strength. You disgrace yourself merely by appearing. Enough! Don't touch Uncle Piccolo. Gohan charged forward, reckless and raw with anguish, only to be snared by Frieza's tail throttling his throat. On the planet Namek, the battlefield of Raditz, dark clouds filled the sky and fine raindrops fell to the ground. I thought you would be so powerful, but it turns out you're nothing special. Gula looked down from the sky. On the ground, a burly man lay, his clothes tattered, his body covered in wounds of all sizes, and under the rain his strong figure was soaked in blood, appearing extremely tragic and somewhat horrifying. Anyone witnessing this scene would assume the burly man lying on the ground was dead, but unexpectedly, he stood up. His face twisted in agony, fresh blood flowed endlessly from his wounds, as he raised his head to gaze at the sky. At this moment Raditz once again experienced a fierce battle with Gula, but he did not expect Gula's strength to exceed his imagination. The moon in the sky had vanished, reverting to the state of an ordinary Saiyan. He could no longer maintain the Kaioken state. It could be said that he was now unable to defeat even Frieza, let alone face Gula, who was stronger than Frieza. Gula was somewhat surprised to see Raditz struggling to stand. Oh, you're still alive. Your vitality is truly resilient. Wouldn't it be better to just fall down? Do you want to experience hellish pain once more? Well then, out of respect for a strong opponent, I will grant you this wish and let you slowly die in despair amidst fear. He laughed heartily, his voice echoing in the air as he flew towards Raditz, stopping right in front of him. Raditz instinctively clenched his fists and swung at Gula, but he was already severely injured, his remaining strength almost depleted. His seemingly powerful body was now in tatters. Gula saw Raditz's state and took Raditz's punch squarely without dodging. Is this all the strength you have? This dull sensation is truly boring. Let me show you how to fight properly, he said, before launching a powerful punch to Raditz's abdomen, while simultaneously grabbing his long hair to prevent Raditz from flying away. Raditz coughed up a mouthful of blood, and soon after Gula rained down punch after punch upon him. Gula grasped Raditz by the throat and asked, "How does it feel?" However, Raditz could barely open his mouth, his face contorted with rage, glaring at Gula with fierce eyes. "That annoying expression is tiresome. I've had enough of this. Just go die quietly," he said, lifting his hand slightly, instantly piercing through Raditz's chest and tossing him aside, causing him to crash into the water with a SPL splash. "Now you must be dead, right? Oh, it seems my foolish brother is having some trouble over there." In the water, Raditz's consciousness began to fade, and the scenes from his past life flashed through his mind. "I won't accept this. Am I really going to die like this? After so much effort to be reborn, I am to die again. Why is the heavens so unfair to me? Why did you betray me after I treated you so well? Why is what I treasure most not mine? Why must you do this to me?" Just as Raditz was about to die, the blood jade emitted a dazzling red light enveloping his entire body. Raditz exuded a golden glow, his injuries fully healed without a trace left. His eyebrows and hair had turned golden, his pupils became fluorescent blue, and a golden tail trailed behind him. "Is this the Super Saiyan? I feel power coursing through my entire being." "What? A Super Saiyan? You actually transformed into the legendary Super Saiyan?" Gula exclaimed in disbelief, his eyes wide with astonishment before a wicked smile crept onto his face. "What Super Saiyan? In my presence you are nothing but an ant. Since you've come back to life, I'll just kill you once more." He unleashed all his strength towards Raditz's chest. However, this time his attack did not inflict any harm. Raditz smiled slightly and taunted. "By your own words, you are too weak. Haven't you eaten? Your punches lack power. This is how you should fight." With that, Raditz threw a punch, sending Gula flying away. Before Gula could hit the ground, Raditz was already behind him, delivering a fierce kick that with the emergence of a golden light, the mighty Emperor of the universe met his demise. It hurts, it hurts. "What are you doing, Raditz? Why did you hit me?" Sun Wukong, clutching his abdomen, looked at Raditz with a hint of grievance. However, what he did not know was that Raditz had not used any real power. Even though Sun Wukong had transformed into a Super Saiyan, his strength was only a mere 500 million, not even enough to defeat Goldo. At this moment, Raditz's combat power had risen from a mere 10 million to 50 million after a resurrection from death. In his Super Saiyan state, his combat power had reached 5 billion, far beyond what Sun Wukong could compare to. "Kakarot, you fool! Don't you understand such a simple truth that being merciful to your enemies is cruelty to yourself? Look at what you've done. Namek is on the verge of explosion. No one here can survive in the universe. Everyone will die because of you." Raditz said angrily. I'm sorry. I was careless this time. I won't let it happen again, please don't mind it." "Ha ha ha," Sun Wukong laughed heartlessly after speaking. Raditz looked at Sun Wukong's foolish expression, and it made him both angry and amused. He said, "What are you laughing at? Hurry up and summon the dragon. Do you want to get us all killed? Also, the dragon of Namek can only be summoned using the Namekian language. I can sense Dend is flying toward us with all the Dragon Balls are ready. Now it's your turn, Dend," Raditz said, turning to Dend. "All right, no problem, Mr. Raditz," Dend replied. Then Dend faced the 7 Dragon Balls, speaking in the Namekian language. Yamcha, if you don't Yamcha, I won't come out, Zingari Zingaro." Suddenly the sky turned black, and a golden lightning bolt danced across it, revealing an enormous green creature. This was the dragon. Unlike the majestic Eastern dragons, it bore a unique charm akin to Western dragons. "State your wishes." "I can grant 3 wishes, no matter what they are," Purunga said. "So this is the dragon. Since coming to the Dragon Ball world, I've always wanted to increase my strength, but have never seen the dragon before. When Bulma summoned the dragon to resurrect Yamcha, I was focused on training the Kaioken technique, and missed the chance to see it." Raditz whispered, then turned to Dend. "Dend, hurry and have the dragon restore Namek." After a series of Namekian commands, Purunga gave an okay gesture and said, "No problem, it's very simple. Your first wish has been granted, now state your second wish." Instantly the Sunto explode Namek restored to its original form, and the scenes of destruction from the battle reverted to their previous state. "Dend, please have the dragon resurrect those who were killed by Frieza and his men." Wukong also addressed Dend. Dend replied, "It's impossible, only one person can be resurrected at a time. How can teach?" Meanwhile, not far away, Krillin was also revived and flew towards Raditz and the others. "Dend, you should have healing abilities, right? Please heal those too." Raditz glanced at Dend and pointed to Piccolo and Tien Shinhan, who were unconscious due to severe injuries on the ground. "All right, no problem," Dend replied. "Wukong, I'm so glad you're okay." Krillin exclaimed, flying towards Wukong with tears in his eyes. "By the way, after my resurrection, why haven't I seen Gohan? I remember he was killed alongside me by Frieza, wasn't he?" Wukong scratched his head. "Krillin, you've already died once, so the Earth Dragon cannot resurrect you. That's why I used the Namekian Dragon Balls to revive you later." We can use the Earth Dragon Balls to resurrect Gohan. But if Shishi finds out Gohan is dead, she won't be able to handle it, Krillin reminded. Oh no, how could I forget about Shishi? Please, she must not find out. Wukong exclaimed in a flurry. Then we won't return. Frieza is dead, everyone is safe, and Chaozu has been revived. This time we can consider the mission a success, Krillin sighed in relief. Everyone, the Elder is nearing his end. He has something to say to Mr. Raditz. Can we? Seeing Den suddenly speak up, Raditz replied. No problem, let's go to the Elder. Then the 6 of them flew towards the Elder's residence. After making their wish, Raditz and his companions arrived at the residence of the Grand Elder. As soon as they entered, Bulma greeted everyone enthusiastically, exclaiming, You're finally back. Had I known it would be this dangerous, I wouldn't have come. Krillin stepped forward to comfort her, saying, Wasn't it you who insisted there was no danger and insisted on coming along? As expected, Bulma retaliated with 2 punches, shouting, How was I supposed to know there would be danger? Besides, without me, how would you have made it to Namek and collected the Dragon Balls? Everyone was already accustomed to Bulma's temper. Seeing Krillin in embarrassment, I could only smile without saying much. A large, elderly Namekian sat quietly in a chair, his eyes closed. Dondi slowly approached, saying, Grand Elder, Mr. Raditz and the others have arrived. The Grand Elder, weary, opened his eyes, glanced at everyone, and spoke. Congratulations to you all on fulfilling your wishes. I never expected to see 2 legendary Saiyans appear on the same day. Young man, do you still remember our promise? Raditz stepped forward, assuring, Don't worry, Grand Elder. I will keep my word. When the Dragon Balls on Earth can be used, I will revive the Namekians. Then I am at ease, the Grand Elder replied, turning to Piccolo. It seems you have assimilated with Nail. You are a genius of the Namekian race, but unfortunately your body is not complete. Otherwise your strength would not be inferior to a Super Saiyan. I hope you can take care of Dondi. He is a very talented child. And Dondi, the climate on Namek has become severe and is no longer suitable for our people to live in. When they are revived, I hope you can use the power of the Dragon Balls to find a Grand Elder. Dandis' eyes welled up with tears as he watched his most precious and only remaining kin leave him. What are everyone's plans next? I don't plan to return to Earth for now. I intend to go somewhere else. Me too. I also won't return yet. If I do, Shishi will surely scold me to death. Raditz said, and Goku chimed in. Bulma, still confused, looked at everyone. Little son, Shishi doesn't scold people for no reason. Living with someone like you who only knows training is really stressful for her. As your wife, you need to understand her more. By the way, where is Gohan? I haven't seen him, Bulma remarked. As soon as she said that, the area fell silent. Piccolo, leaning against the wall in a corner, lowered his head deeply. If anyone noticed him, they would be very surprised, as no one would expect the mighty demon King Piccolo to shed tears. He clenched his hands tightly, overwhelmed with self-reproach. This is all my fault. If it weren't for me, Gohan wouldn't have. Damn it. Although he could use the Dragon Balls to revive him, Gohan's death deeply pierced his heart. After more than a year of interaction, he had already regarded Gohan as his own child. Noticing the strange expressions on everyone's faces, Bulma sensed something was off and glanced at Krillin. Krillin, with red eyes and moist eyelids that would have overflowed with tears, had he not suppressed them, walked up to Bulma, his mouth nearly touching her ear, lowering his voice to a near whisper. Fearing Goku would hear, he said, Gohan was killed by that vile Frieza. It's all because I died once that Goku chose to revive me first. Upon hearing the news of Gohan's death, Bulma couldn't hold back her tears any longer. Although he could be revived with the Dragon Balls, Gohan was different from the others. He's still a child. This time Bulma fell silent, not daring to say more, because she knew Goku must be feeling extremely heartbroken at that moment. This is all my fault. I couldn't protect Gohan. I will definitely use the Dragon Balls to revive him, and this is something Shishi must never know. Gohan's death must have been a huge shock to Goku. This time Goku was not his usual carefree self, but had matured significantly. Alright, I and Goku will be leaving Namek now. What about you? Raditz glanced at Bulma. I certainly don't want to stay in this dreadful place any longer. I want to return to Earth. Krillin and Tien Shinhan nodded in agreement. When you get back, tell them I want to take Kakarot and Gohan to pay respects to our parents to let them recognize their ancestry. We'll return in a year, and I'm sure Shishi will agree to it. Okay. Everyone felt Raditz's suggestion was very reasonable and agreed. In the end, Bulma, Tien Shinhan, Krillin, and Piccolo decided to return to Earth first. After returning, they began to collect the Dragon Balls, and once the time came, started to revive everyone. Since only Dondi remained on Namek, he also set off with them towards Earth. Kakarot, let's go next, Raditz said. Brother, where exactly are you taking me? You'll find out once you get there, Raditz replied. The two flew with all their might through the air, and soon Goku landed on the ground with Raditz. What is this ball? It looks like the spaceship you took when you came to Earth. That's right, this is indeed the spaceship of the Ginyu Force. Their original purpose was to attack planet Yardrat, but they were diverted here due to our interference by Frieza. And our destination is this place, which is rumored to have many special abilities. Let's set off. With that, the two simultaneously entered the spaceship. Start. The spaceship instantly departed from Namek, heading towards planet Yardrat. Inside the cabin, Raditz, worn from the series of battles, soon fell into a deep slumber. In his dreams, familiar sensations returned and the battles on Namek flashed repeatedly in his mind: time freeze, binding technique, death ray, and so on. Yardrat planet, situated in the northern galaxy, is classified as a mid-tier celestial body, though its inhabitants possess relatively modest combat prowess, surpassing even some lower-tier planets. Their civilization harbors numerous extraordinary abilities. Across the vast ink-black expanse of the cosmos, two spherical spacecraft streaked forward at breathtaking velocity, each carving a luminous white trail across the star-strewn void. Inside the cockpit, Raditz slowly opened his eyes and stretched languidly, murmuring unconsciously, "What a deeply restful slumber. My hypothesis was correct. The battle has indeed granted me access to their techniques and powers. Time freeze and binding art, truly wondrous abilities. They merit thorough study. Pity I did not acquire Kai's body swap technique. Still, greed breeds folly, and besides, I have already fully acclimated to this vessel of flesh. That ability would be little more than ornamental. Death beam, the signature technique of Frieza, not bad at all, perfect for dramatic flair. As for the rest, merely variations on familiar themes, hardly worth mastering." Raditz absently rubbed his eyes, then rose steadily to his feet. Gazing through the viewport, he beheld the boundless cosmos, countless stars shimmering like scattered diamonds against the infinite velvet dark. Unbidden, he sighed in quiet, "The splendor of the starry firmament lies wholly before me. We should arrive shortly." 5 minutes later, both vessels simultaneously descended upon a pale yellow planet, piercing its atmosphere, and beginning their descent toward the surface. One craft followed closely behind the other as they plummeted from the heavens. Two thunderous impacts shook the land, sending plumes of sand and stone billowing skyward. Craters yawned where the ships struck fissures radiating outward across the cracked earth. The hatches groaned open, and Raditz and Son Goku emerged side by side. "So this is Yardrat planet. The environment leaves much to be desired. Did we land in a desert?" Raditz surveyed the desolate wasteland stretching endlessly around him, its surface blanketed in ochre dust. "Brother, is this our destination? It doesn't look impressive at all. I'm starving. Aside from rocks, there doesn't seem to be a single edible thing here." Raditz nodded in silent agreement, until a sudden movement caught his eye. "Something's approaching." Instantly, both Raditz and Goku launched skyward, hovering 100 meters above ground. Below, a serpentine beast armored in gleaming golden scales, its maw wide as a cavern, had just swallowed a purple-skinned alien whole. 3 others fled in terror. "Stop! You shall harm no one." Goku shot forward without hesitation, delivering a single devastating blow that sent the golden-scaled crocodile dragon flying. The fleeing trio froze mid-stride, stunned, then overjoyed. "He's incredible! We're saved!" An elderly purple alien, his skin deeply wrinkled, exhaled heavily. Raditz descended beside them. "You are the native people of Yardrat planet." "Yes. I am Jira. These are my children. Thank you for rescuing us." "It was nothing. Gee. You do not seem to hail from our world." At those words, Raditz's eyes snapped wide, his mind roiling like a storm-tossed sea. You! What did you just say?" Raditz tensed visibly, his brow furrowing slightly, a rare lapse in composure. His most guarded secret had slipped. For an instant, his overwhelming aura flickered outward. "Young man, do not be alarmed. This prediction is indeed mine, but I harbor no ill intent toward you. Were I hostile, I would not speak it to your face. Moreover, you repelled the alien incursion against our world, and moments ago you saved one of our kin. Your purpose here is clear to me. Shortly I shall assign a master to instruct you both in instant transmission. However, might I ask a favor of you?" Hearing the elder's calm tone, Raditz steadied himself and replied, "Speak. What is it?" "Beyond foresight, I possess the ability to expend my own lifespan to perform precise, individualized visions of another's future. I sense immense potential in the young man beside you, destined to ascend to supreme, transcendent heights. Yet in you, I perceive nothing, not a single thread." Raditz rushed forward to check on him. "He's merely unconscious. No lasting harm." At the elder's cry, numerous inhabitants of planet Yardrat burst into the chamber. 3 of them immediately directed emerald light upon the fallen sage. "Who are you? Why have you harmed our ancestor?" Raditz froze at the words. The speaker appeared elderly, yet called this frail-seeming man ancestor. Clearly this elder was far more than he seemed. "He has harmed no one. All of you leave, and you honored guest, please withdraw as well. I wish to speak with Master Raditz alone." At the ancestor's command, the crowd dispersed swiftly. Son Goku followed silently out the door. "Who are you? You bear no resemblance to these people." Yet they call you ancestor. How is that possible? No sooner had the others departed than Raditz pressed the question. My own name. I've forgotten, even memory fades with time. I have lived so long. In my final clear recollection, I simply appeared upon this world. Some 3,000 years ago. Over centuries I've glimpsed countless futures, sacrificing lifespans each time. Such tolls left me weary but never broken. Yet when I gazed upon you, I felt true irrevocable death. The elder sighed heavy with revelation. Then what did you see? Terrible. Unimaginably so. A colossal violet entity. Slaughterer of multitudes. Not mortals, perhaps gods. Beings of exalted divinity. Raditz stiffened inwardly. But Namek lies abandoned. According to Galactic Intelligence, reports the survivors fled to Earth. The subordinate trembled as he spoke. King Cold fell silent. Deep in thought, the Super Saiyan. So the legend is true. Earth is it, then Earth shall burn. For vengeance. Where is this place? It looks somewhat familiar. Could it be that I've come to the King of the North Star? After living on the planet Yardrat for a month, Raditz successfully mastered instant transmission. Out of curiosity, he decided to give it a try, searching for a presence in the vast starry sky of the northern galaxy. After much effort, he found a person with decent strength and used instant transmission to arrive here. The place he found himself in seemed to be a very small planet, small enough to see its entire shape with the naked eye. Raditz instantly thought of the King of the North Star. Looking around, there was only a small house in a sea of green grass with a few solitary trees nearby and a car parked on a road that circled the center of the planet. This place is really quite desolate. I can't imagine how boring it must be for someone to live here for a long time. Just as Raditz was admiring the King of the North Star, a gorilla appeared before him. Oh, oh, oh! The large gorilla danced and shouted in front of Raditz. It seems this is undoubtedly the King of the North Star. We have a guest. At that moment, a person suddenly walked out of the house. He was less than 1.5 meters tall with 2 antennae on his head, wearing strange clothes and sunglasses. This was the master of the planet, the King of the North. Oh, it's you, Goku's brother. Why have you suddenly come to my place? The King of the North questioned upon seeing Raditz. Recognizing the identity of the person before him, Raditz did not want to reveal anything on their first meeting and pretended to inquire, "Who are you and how do you know me?" "Haha, I am the supreme god who reigns above all. The King of the North Fist that you learn comes from me. As for me, besides those advantages you just mentioned, I have one more. I am a genius at telling jokes. If you can tell a joke that makes me laugh, I might consider teaching you. So what do you say? Do you want to give it a try? But it won't be easy." Raditz slapped his forehead in realization, forgetting about this matter. The King of the North had an extremely low threshold for laughter. This kind of test could probably be passed by anyone except for Frieza. Raditz casually pulled out a joke from his past life, which made the King of the North laugh so hard, he rolled on the ground, clutching his stomach. After standing up, he took out a handkerchief to wipe the tears of laughter from the corners of his eyes, savoring the memory. "It seems you came prepared, bringing such a funny joke. All right, I agree to let you train. You can temporarily stay here." "Great. Thank you, King." Raditz was delighted upon hearing this. "The gravity of my planet is 10 times that of Earth. How do you feel about it?" "I feel fantastic. This gravity is the same as that of my home planet Vegeta, and I often train in the gravity chamber, so this level of gravity is nothing for me." Earth. In a brightly lit room, a muscular man with long hair gazed at 2 stunning women. Slim, radiant, and flawlessly fair-skinned. His mouth watering uncontrollably, blood spurting from his nose. "Bulma Tights. I'm so sorry. I've just mastered instant transmission, but I haven't quite mastered its control yet. I had no idea you were bathing. I truly didn't mean to intrude." Yet the 2 women paid no heed to Raditz's explanation. Shielding their chests with crossed arms, they bolted from the room. One fleeing ahead, the other right behind. Moments later, both re-entered. Fully clothed. Raditz stared at the scene before him, his throat parched, a scorching fire burning within. He clenched his jaw, suppressing the fierce surge of desire rising in his chest. Before him stood 2 breathtakingly beautiful women, nearly identical in features, clad in soft pink sleepwear that accentuated their graceful, alluring figures. Snow-white calves and delicate feet in simple slippers emerged beneath the hems as they approached. Raditz averted his gaze, reluctant to look. A healthy, virile man, he felt his pulse quicken. The sight stirred deep primal longing within him, threatening to overwhelm his restraint. "You pervert! You lecherous, shameless wretch! You spied on us while we bathed, then dared to grope us!" Bulma's furious outburst doused some of Raditz's inner flame. He lifted his head slightly and offered a faint, apologetic smile. "Truly I'm mortified, Bulma Tights. I swear it was unintentional. This time I just mastered instant transmission. But my control remains imperfect. I arrived here by accident. I sincerely apologize, and promise to exercise greater caution next time." "Didn't you say exactly that last time, Raditz?" Tights interjected. "You've seized every advantage, you wretched fiend. Well, then what would you have me do? Whatever lies within my power, I'll do it. A sly smile flickered across Bulma's lips. Very well. Henceforth you shall perform 10 tasks for us unconditionally. What they are I'll decide, and inform you later. 10. That's excessive. 1 would suffice. You insolent brute. After what you've done 1 is an insult. The absolute minimum is 8. 3. And not a single one more, Raditz declared, gritting his teeth. Agreed. 1 each. 3 for Bulma, 3 for tights, she replied instantly. Raditz blinked, suddenly sensing something deeply unsettlingly amiss. By the way, how did you return so soon? Weren't you supposed to wait a full year? And where's Goku? Bulma asked abruptly. Goku hasn't returned yet. We trained on planet Yardrat to master instant transmission. I learned it first, so I came home early to visit. He remains there. Hearing this, Bulma brightened. Ah, that's perfect. I have wonderful news. Before his passing, the Namekian Grand Elder transferred the Dragon Ball's power to Den. And Den told us that 1 Namekian year equals only 1/3 of ours. So we'll be able to revive Gohan far sooner than expected. Raditz nodded thoughtfully. Understood. Once Gohan is revived, please also resurrect Vegeta. What? Bring that villain back. Have you lost your mind? Bulma snapped, indignant. Vegeta's fate means little to me. But Kakarot insisted I bring him back. He swore he wouldn't rest until he fought him again. I simply couldn't bear his relentless pleading. So I agreed. What is Kakarot thinking? His skull is filled with not elsewhere. We've arrived. At Raditz's speed, Goku's home appeared in moments. He stepped forward and knocked firmly on the door. Who is it? Shishi's voice echoed from within. It's me, your sister-in-law, Raditz. The door swung open. But instead of Chi-Chi, a towering figure emerged, broad-shouldered, crowned with imposing bull horns. Then Shishi rushed forth, tears brimming her voice, trembling with urgency. Gohan. My Gohan. Where is he? Sister-in-law, Goku and Gohan haven't returned yet. Only I came back this time. Rest assured. They're perfectly safe. They'll return once their ancestral rites are complete. Her shoulders slumped, the fervor in her eyes dimming. I see. Oh. You must be famished after such a long journey. Please come in at once. Hello. You must be Goku's elder brother Raditz. I'm Ox King, Shishi's father. Ox King extended his hand. Raditz bowed slightly and clasped it with respectful warmth. Honored to meet you, Uncle Ox. I'm Raditz, Goku's elder brother. I've long Perfect. I'll delay my journey to King Kai for now and stroll through the city's nocturnal splendor instead. Still hungry, Raditz left Mount Paozu and entered a glittering metropolis, strolling into an upscale restaurant. But just as he savored his meal, a woman's voice cut sharply through the air. Hands up now or I'll shoot. He looked up to see a statuesque golden-haired beauty aiming a heavy machine gun straight at him. A blonde woman noticed a long-haired muscular man seated nearby, staring at her intently as he ate. A wave of disgust rose within her. She strode forward without hesitation and pressed a gun to his temple. What are you gawking at, you sleaze? One more glance and he'll pluck your eyes out. Rattress remained unruffled, took a slow sip of wine and said calmly, Lan Chi. The woman, Lan Chi, startled at hearing her name spoken so effortlessly by this stranger. She scrutinized him closely. His features stirred a faint sense of familiarity, yet she was certain she had never met him before. As she hesitated, lost in thought, Rattress spoke again. No need to rack your brain. You truly don't know me. Let me introduce myself. I am Rattress' elder brother of Kakarot, whom you call Son Goku. I learned of you during my time at the Turtle School. Others spoke of you, and I even saw your photograph. Lan Chi's expression softened with sudden understanding. Ah, I see. Since you're Goku's brother, I'll let you go. Rattress flew swiftly. Yet to his surprise, Lan Chi didn't flinch. Instead, she laughed breathlessly, urging him on. Faster. Even faster. This is exhilarating. He mused inwardly. Indeed. The fiercer the thrill, the brighter her spirit burns. So what now? Do you truly have no intention of returning to the Turtle School? They miss you dearly. Lan Chi shook her head. I won't go back. Though I admit those days were joyful, my heart no longer resides there. A life of freedom and adrenaline suits me better. Perhaps such a life suited the girl you once were. But the woman speaking now lacks conviction in her own words. Your heart still belongs to the Turtle School, though another man has claimed its deepest chamber. Am I wrong? As Rattress watched, her memory flickered. In his past life, he'd read Dragon Ball, and after a certain point Lan Chi faded from the story. Perhaps arrested that very day, perhaps spiraling into greater missteps later. He'd always imagined her with Tien Shinhan, a child Ho. Rattress secured a private booth and discreetly instructed the server not to disturb them. With a generous tip in hand, the staff complied without question. Leaving the chaotic bar's roar behind, the room settled into profound, undisturbed silence. Inside the booth, silence reigned. Lan Chi sat motionless, lost in thought, while Rattress respected the quiet, only watching as she drank wine like water. At last he broke the stillness. Speak what burdens you. Perhaps I can help. You cannot. How do you know? Unless you tell me. Unburdening pain often lightens its weight. Yet I already know. It's Tien Shinhan, isn't it? Lan Chi nodded, drained her glass in one swift motion and said, Would you like to hear my story? I'll tell you. I'm an orphan. Split between two selves. As a child I was mocked and tormented. I learned early weakness is death in this world. So I hardened myself. Turned to mischief, then cruelty just to feel something. Then one day 2 children led me to a seaside house. There lived a talking turtle, strange wise, and a martial arts god hailed as the strongest under heaven. Though no one expected him to be a lecherous old man. And there were 2 boys barely older than teens obsessed solely with training. Her voice softened, tears shimmered. Not of sorrow but of tender remembrance. And for the first time a rare gentle smile touched her lips. Rattress listened in quiet reverence, offering no interruption. She took another sip and continued. They trained endlessly. I cooked for them. Their kindness was real, the first true French. In a room of a bar, Raditz looked at the unconscious Lan Chi and couldn't help but shake his head in helplessness. The Buddha said there are 4 great sufferings in life: greed, anger, ignorance, the meeting of those we resent, the parting from those we love, and the pursuit of what cannot be attained. Everyone must endure the bitterness of love. While it is indeed painful to love without being loved in return, the most devastating blow comes from the betrayal of a beloved. I can advise you with my words, yet I cannot even save myself. After saying this, he downed the drink in front of him, gently picked up Lan Chi, and placed her on the bed in the private room, covering her with a blanket. Raditz then returned to the sofa and continued to drink alone, eventually succumbing to the effects of alcohol and falling asleep. The night passed quietly. The next morning the first rays of sunlight streamed through the window, shining into Raditz's eyes. He instinctively rubbed them and woke from his slumber, standing up and stretching. Sleeping on the sofa is really uncomfortable. You're awake, good morning. Hearing a voice, Raditz turned to see Lan Chi already up early. The sunlight illuminated her, intertwining with her golden hair, making her look as enchanting as a goddess of dawn. Good morning. I didn't expect you to be up so early. I'm used to it, I've been like this since I was young. If I always slept in, I might have been cut off long ago. Thank you for yesterday. You're welcome, but I'm completely different from you. I've always loved to sleep in. Alright, I should be leaving now. He then walked towards the door. Where are you going? Can you help me with something? I can't handle it on my own. Seeing Raditz about to leave, Lan Chi called out to stop him. Raditz turned back with a smile. We always... Tianjin fan in the waterfall also noticed the commotion and flew over. Mr. Raditz, what brings you here? I haven't had the chance to thank you for saving Jiaozi. By the way, Jiaozi is nearby. They'll call him over to say thanks to you. Wait a moment, Tianjin fan. Look who this is, Raditz said. Hearing this, Tianjin fan also turned to look, and a familiar yet beautiful face came into view, causing him to stutter nervously. Lan Chi, what are you doing here? Long time no see. Yes, long time no see, Lan Chi replied softly, and the two exchanged glances. The surroundings fell silent, with only the sound of the waterfall crashing against the rocks, the spring breeze rustling the leaves, and the birds flapping their wings. Tianjin fan found himself at a loss for words as he gazed at the woman before him. Lan Chi's confession had indeed startled him back then. To be honest, Tianjin fan still had feelings for her. Although he wouldn't say it was love, he did like her to some extent. However, Tianjin fan, what happened here? A voice broke the original tranquility as Jiaozi approached upon hearing the commotion. Jiaozi, you're here. This is Mr. Raditz. He's the one who helped you come back to life this time. Upon seeing Jiaozi arrive, Tianjin fan quickly changed the subject to alleviate the awkwardness. Thank you, Mr. Raditz. You're welcome. It was just a small effort. By the way, Mr. Raditz, why did you suddenly come back? Has Gohan been revived? Tianjin fan asked in confusion. Not yet, but it will be soon. This time it's just me, Goku hasn't returned. I see. Well, since you've traveled such a long distance, let's have a meal here. Jiaozi and I have settled down here. Tianjin fan warmly invited. Soon Raditz and Lan Chi followed Tianjin fan to his home, which was not very large, but had an ancient charm with the surrounding bird songs and fragrant flowers creating a refreshing atmosphere. Mr. Raditz, Lan Chi, please sit. I'll prepare some food for you. No, nay. At this moment Raditz and Jiaozi returned. Raditz and Jiaozi walked into the room and noticed Tianjin fan's condition. Jiaozi nervously asked Tianjin fan, are you okay? You look a bit unwell. Upon seeing Raditz and Jiaozi, Tianjin fan felt a sense of relief and quickly changed the subject. Jiaozi, we were just chatting about some past events. By the way, let's hurry and prepare food for Mr. Raditz and the others. They must be starving by now. After saying this, Tianjin fan hurriedly left with Jiaozi. Seeing the two leave, Raditz cast an inquiring glance at Lan Chi. So did it work? When he saw Lan Chi shake her head, Raditz felt a bit helpless. Take your time. I can sense that he likes you. He might be afraid of disappointing you, or there may be something troubling him. Really? He really likes me. Yes, I can feel it. Raditz replied affirmatively, though he inwardly mused it's probably just a feeling. Based on my past lives' deductions, it's about right. About 20 minutes later, Tianjin Fan prepared a lavish feast for Raditz and Tianjin Fan, come outside with me. I have something to discuss with you. Raditz stood up and said. Tianjin Fan followed Raditz outside the door. Mr. Raditz, what do you want to say? You saved Jiaozi's life, so I'll do anything for you, even if it means going through fire and water. Really? Raditz asked with a mischievous tone. Of course it's true. Then how about I ask you to take care of Lan Qi for life? Hearing this, Tianjin Fan fell silent, while Raditz couldn't help but laugh. A grown man who's not afraid of fire and ice yet scared of a woman. Let me put it this way, I happened to encounter Lan Qi being chased by the police when I returned to Earth and I saved her. She also shared your story with me, which is why I brought her to find you. You know, Lan Qi is just an ordinary person. She is not a martial artist. However, the things she does every day will eventually lead to her capture by the police on Earth, and at that point her life would be over. She only has you in her heart. And in Tianjin Fan's room, Lan Qi and Tianjin Fan sat together very close, both blushing. Lan Qi, I have something to say to you. Go ahead, I'm listening. I thought about your question earlier and I admit I have feelings for you, but... Upon hearing the first half of the sentence, Lan Qi couldn't hide her surprise. But when she heard her face immediately turned dark, and she quickly interjected, okay, you don't need to say any more. Wait a moment. Then Lan Qi went outside and brought back 2 bottles of wine and cups, pouring a glass for Tianjin Fan. Tianjin Fan, let's have a drink. There are some things that are hard to say, but it'll be easier with a drink. Tianjin Fan was momentarily taken aback by Lan Qi's actions, clearly puzzled by what she was trying to do. And he could only refuse, saying, Lan Qi, I've never been one to drink. However, he didn't expect that. As soon as he said this, Lan Qi slammed the table and shouted, what kind of man are you if you don't drink? Hurry up and It's so hot. Why do I feel so hot? Could it be the aftereffects of drinking too much? Tianjin Fan suddenly spoke up. Lan Qi slowly leaned closer to Tianjin Fan, wrapping her arms around him. This scene left Raditz outside dumbfounded, murmuring, this is incredible, Lan Qi is truly fierce. Meanwhile, Jiaozi, who was clueless about social cues, thought something had happened to Tianjin Fan, and was about to go in to check, but was grabbed by Raditz. Adults are handling it. What are you a kid meddling for? Come play with me instead. Inside the room, realizing that Raditz and Jiaozi had left Lan Qi completely let go. Shortly thereafter, the following plot is somewhat dull, and the author knows everyone doesn't like to read it, so it's omitted. A sharp cry pierced the air. From Tianjan's room, curious Raditz and Kairatsu rushed over and pushed the door open, only to be met with a harrowing sight. Tianjan stood naked and head bowed, while Bulma, her body shielded beneath the quilt, sat weeping, tears of grievance glistening in her eyes, her fragile heart-wrenching demeanor stirring deep pity. Bulma's gaze brimmed with wounded sorrow. She recalled nothing but falling asleep and awakening to find her purity violated by someone she trusted most. Even her gentle nature flared with quiet fury. Her tear-filled eyes, laced with betrayal and resentment, left Tianjan utterly shamed and speechless. Raditz stepped forward at once. Bulma, it's not as you think. Please don't rush to judgment. Let me tell you everything from beginning to end, so you may understand fully. He recounted every detail, from their first meeting onward, without omission. Bulma clapped a hand over her mouth in stunned disbelief. Her anger dissolved, she realized she bore no moral ground to rage. After all, she had slipped him the potion. Yet the loss of her innocence weighed heavier still, and fresh tears spilled silently down her cheeks. So poignant, so vulnerable that any witness would instinctively side with her. Truth be damned. Raditz glanced sidelong at Tianjan, frozen in mute dismay. Though he knew Raditz watched them, a soft, knowing smile blooming across his face. The quiet pride of a guardian who has guided destiny to its rightful shore. His childhood vow, long held in silence, was now fulfilled. Yet beneath that serene smile simmered a fierce, envious pang that wretched Tianjan. What astonishing fortune! One persona throws herself into his arms. Another surrenders her very being. It's not one bride. It's 2 in 1, seamless and sublime. Far richer than marrying twice. The envy burned hotter, until his gaze fell upon Kairatsu, standing wide-eyed and bewildered beside him. Raditz ruffled the boy's hair, sighing with genuine fondness. At least you're still tolerable. Kairatsu blinked back, utterly perplexed. Congratulations. You two have found your destined bond. Now go savor your shared world. My path lies elsewhere. Raditz offered his blessing. Thank you, Master Raditz. At last I see clearly, beyond martial mastery there exists something far more precious to protect. From this day I shall train. Not only for glory but for her. For the one worth giving everything to. Tianjan met Raditz's gaze with quiet gratitude. Clarity is the first victory, Raditz replied. You will become a master of the martial way, if you walk your word as faithfully as you hold your heart. Even if your strength never rivals Kakarot's, in my eyes you surpass him. A man's worth isn't measured in power, but in the courage to shield the one he loves no matter the cost. In that, Tianjan, you are stronger than Kakarot. With those words he vanished, leaving only shimmering afterimages behind. King Kai's planet. You've returned. Judging by that calm smile, your mission went smoothly. Raditz materialized Bifo. Lord KO, please guide my training. Raditz placed immense importance on his cultivation on KO's planet. Although the North KO was slightly weaker, his training methods were undoubtedly worth learning from Raditz. In the world of Dragon Ball, the North KO and Master Roshi were undoubtedly the two most outstanding teachers. Don't rush your training, or a friend will arrive shortly for you to meet. Friend, could it be? Raditz pondered upon hearing KO's words. Uncle, what are you doing here? As a voice rang out, Raditz looked over and smiled slightly. Just as I thought, it's you, Gohan. King Enma informed me that Gohan wants to train with me through Snake Way. Given your and Goku's connections, I agreed. However, they are quite strong, arriving much earlier than Goku. Gohan's strength is far beyond what Goku had back then. He must have wasted a lot of time with King Enma. Otherwise, he should have been here by now. Uncle, you are truly clever. Gohan chuckled. Alright Raditz, since everyone is here, you can start your training. As for you two, you must wait until you pass my test. Krillin was taken aback. There's still a test. With that, the North KO's antennae emitted waves of light scanning Raditz's body. He couldn't help but think this guy has an inner strength and determination to become stronger than that rival. Meanwhile, the North KO lounging under a tree was already used to it. In his memory, Raditz was a complete monster with physical abilities that were terrifyingly strong. In just a month, he had adapted to the 10 tons of weight and successfully completed his requirements. According to his calculations, even with Raditz's strength, it would normally take someone at least a year to achieve this without using Super Saiyan form. Saiyans were simply absurdly strong. Suddenly, Raditz stopped training and approached Gohan. Today is the day you two will be revived. Upon hearing this, Gohan's face lit up with excitement. Even though his strength had significantly improved during this time on KO's planet, no one wanted to be dead. He had been looking forward to this day for a long time, especially since Gohan wanted to go home. On Earth, everyone gathered at Bulma's house. With a shout from Dend, come forth Purunga Namekian language, the sky turned dark. After a thunderclap, a massive monster appeared before the crowd. Passers-by on the street were equally shocked by the commotion and turned to look. Bulma quickly sent out a notice explaining that Capsule Corporation was conducting a scientific experiment, and asked everyone not to be afraid. The appearing Shenron spoke in human language, state your 3 wishes, and I can fulfill any wish you desire. For my first wish, I hope for Gohan, who was killed by Frieza, to be revived. Okay, very simple. Please state your second wish. As he was about to state the second wish, Dend paused and looked at the crowd, his eyes asking for input. Suddenly Piccolo spoke up. Dend, can you try to have Purunga allow the Earth Shenron to be used early? Dend nodded. For my second wish, please allow the Earth Shenron to be used now. That wish is impossible. It violates the rules and exceeds my capabilities. Please choose another wish. Sure enough, it doesn't work, Piccolo sighed. At this moment, Bulma stepped forward looking somewhat troubled and said, Dend, could you resurrect Vegeta? The crowd looked at Bulma in disbelief, and Yamcha spoke up directly. Bulma, are you crazy? Why would we resurrect that guy? He's a villain. Why are you being so harsh? I know he's a bad person, but Goku. Hello everyone, we are back. Krillin and Gohan's revival brought joy to all, and they gathered around. Bulma was the first to speak. Great. You're finally back. Gohan, are you going home soon? Shishi must be worried sick. Gohan nodded in embarrassment. I'm really sorry, Mom. I'll hurry back. Yamcha and Tien followed up. Congratulations, Krillin, on your revival once again. Krillin awkwardly scratched his head and smiled, only to be stunned by a surprising sight. Tien was holding a very beautiful girl's hand. Wasn't that Lanchi? Krillin's jaw dropped in astonishment. Tien, Lanchi, when did you two get together? Tien turned red. About 2 months ago, thanks to Mr. Raditz's help. We are now married. What? This revelation shocked not only Krillin but everyone around. They had just learned that Tien and Lanchi were together, but they didn't expect them to be married. Krillin felt a tinge of jealousy. What a lack of friendship, getting married without inviting us for a celebration. He then sighed. Alas, Goku has Chi-Chi. Tien is married to Lanchi, and while Yamcha and Bulma aren't married, they are probably close to it. Now I'm the only one left. Yamcha walked over and hugged Krillin. Alright, stop thinking about it. I'll have Bulma introduce all her single friends to you. Hearing this, Krillin's spirits lifted and he laughed heartily. Meanwhile, Vegeta slowly opened his eyes in the grass, sat up, and clenched his fists, muttering in confusion, what's going on? Wasn't I killed by Frieza? Where am I? The others, hearing the commotion, approached him. Vegeta emerged from the grass. Where is this? How did I end up here? I was dead, answer me. Vegeta asked anxiously. Bulma, hearing Vegeta's tone, immediately flared up. You rude guy. Of course you were dead. We used the Dragon Balls to bring you back. How dare you speak to us like that? Revived? Then what? Meanwhile, in the universe, a spaceship was heading towards Earth. Inside the ship, a man resembling Frieza, but much larger, sat in a chair radiating an overwhelming aura that terrified his subordinates. Frieza, cooler, my son, this time I'm going to Earth for revenge. Let those who offend our frost demons see the consequences. For nearly a year I have unleashed the powers sealed within my body. This time you'll see that our Frost Demon clan is the true strongest in the universe. Saiyans, just wait for your doom. The chapter ends here. Earth. In Bulma's yard. With a loud explosion, everyone was drawn over. Bulma and Yamcha rushed over to see Vegeta emerging from the gravity training room, his clothes tattered, and his body covered in wounds. Bulma reproached him. Vegeta, what are you doing? This is my home. Who gave you permission to cause destruction here? Vegeta clenched his fists tightly, mumbling under his breath. Damn it, why can't I transform into a Super Saiyan? I was overtaken by those lower-class warriors Kakarot and Raditz. Why? Without responding to Bulma, Vegeta walked away. Hey Vegeta, don't just ignore me. You're so rude. Bulma stomped her foot angrily and shouted. Forget it, Bulma. Don't stoop to his level, Yamcha quickly advised from the side. Humph. Bulma haughtily snorted. I can't be bothered with someone like him, a training fanatic. Despite her prideful words, she still kindly prepared bathwater and fresh clothes for Vegeta. These peaceful days are really nice, so comfortable without all tea. Ah! Bulma suddenly screamed, her expression tense and her body trembling. Hey, it can't be that serious, it's just clothes. What an incredible energy! Yamcha suddenly remarked. Could it be Goku or Raditz returning? No wonder Vegeta looks like that, Bulma said, feeling a flicker of excitement. It's not Kakarot or Raditz. It's a very evil and powerful presence, even dozens of times stronger than Frieza, but its energy feels quite similar to Frieza's, Vegeta said, showing signs of tension. It seemed that a foe even more terrifying than Frieza had arrived. No way. Stronger than Frieza. Last time it was his brother, this time it can't be his father, right? Bulma covered her mouth, her face full of disbelief. Meanwhile, far away at Master Ro's, his place, Krillin and Master Roshi also sensed this terrifying energy. Currently Krillin was on a video call with Gohan. Uncle Krillin, did you feel that? It seems like a very evil and powerful energy is approaching, Gohan said. Yes, The spacecraft descended slowly onto Earth's surface. Seeing it, Vegeta immediately shouted, conceal your aura. Hide at once. Inside the vessel, a subordinate reported, Lord Cooler, landing is complete. Upon hearing this, Lord Cooler opened his eyes, rose steadily to his feet, and stepped out of the ship. So this is Earth, a rather decent planet, all things considered. I wonder where those Saiyans have hidden themselves. Lord Cooler swept his gaze across the landscape, then issued his command, eliminate every human on this world. The Saiyans will surely emerge once they learn of it. Understood. All units. Advance and eradicate humanity. At his order, his troops surged toward Earth cities. Hidden nearby, the Z-fighters clenched their fists in fury. Damn it. We cannot let them slaughter innocents freely. Even if it costs us our lives, we must stop them. Just as the Z-fighters prepared to strike, the corpses of alien invaders plummeted from the sky, and a blue-haired youth descended, sword sheathed across his back. Who is he? Bewilderment rippled through the onlookers. None had imagined that such a formidable warrior, unknown to all, could exist on Earth. What business brings you here, Earthling? To destroy you. Where is Frieza? Has he gone into hiding? How utterly reckless. You dare ask me about Frieza after causing his death? Lord Cooler bristled with indignation, convinced the youth mocked him. Yet Trunks heard those words differently. His brow furrowed. What? Frieza is alive. Has my arrival altered history itself? No matter. The outcome remains unchanged. Since only you remain, I shall end you now. End me. How laughably arrogant. Ignorance truly is bliss. I know you. Cooler, Frieza's father. Your entire legacy is known to me. Trunks spoke coldly. Humph. Remarkable. Even this remote world has heard my name. Dismissing Trunks entirely, Cooler turned to his subordinates. Deal with him. The rest of you, proceed with exterminating humanity. Yes, sir. His forces scattered instantly. Trunks roared, your efforts are futile. Every one of you will die here today. I spare no hand raised against Earth. Such insolence. Let me gauge your power. A scouter. Come then. I shall unleash my full might from the outset. Unlike Son Goku, I show no mercy, and I am not the only one capable of achieving Super Saiyan transformation. What? Both Cooler and the hidden warriors recoiled in disbelief. Vegeta. Did that youth just claim he could become a Super Saiyan? Is it true? Krillin asked, bewildered. Impossible. Only 3 Saiyans remain. Myself, Kakarot, and Raditz. There can be no others. Barely had Vegeta spoken when reality struck him like a slap. A colossal surge of energy erupted. Rocks trembled midair, suspended in the shockwave. Then came the cry, "A!" In an instant, the youth's blue hair blazed gold, his irises turned cerulean. His already aloof countenance hardened further, bearing an uncanny resemblance to Vegeta himself, radiating an aura so forbidding that none dared draw near. Impossible. How can another achieve Super Saiyan? Has this legendary transformation truly lost all meaning? Damn it. How dare 3 others surpass Prince Vegeta, heir to the Saiyan throne? This sight pierced Vegeta's pride like a dagger. Transformed, Trunks lunged, sword drawn, striking with full force. Cooler met the blow barehanded, gripping the blade's edge. Their clashing auras detonated outward, carving new ravines and shattering mountainsides across the battlefield. Trunks staggered inwardly. This Cooler bore no resemblance to the tyrant he remembered. By his calculations, victory should have been effortless. Yet now Cooler stood equal to him, unyielding and immense. Cooler's thoughts mirrored Trunks' own. I underestimated you. Truly, your strength is exceptional. No wonder you slew both Frieza and Metacooler, my two most powerful sons. Pity. They possessed extraordinary talent. Especially Frieza, who simply refused to train. Had he done so, none of you wretched Saiyans would ever have stood a chance. Enough talk. Today I erase you and reunite you with your sons in death. With a thunderous roar, Trunks broke away, only for their combined auras to erupt beyond Earth's atmosphere, piercing the void. Far across space, Goku, racing home aboard his ship, sensed the malevolent presence. That evil energy. It belongs to Frieza's father. But who dares confront him? Puzzled, he considered using instant transmission, then paused. Earth must ultimately be protected by others. I cannot guard it forever. I'll intervene only if he falters. On King Kai's planet, North Kai grew restless, watching Raditz remain calm. A fearsome warrior has appeared on Earth. Locked in B. On the battlefield of Earth, Lord Cooler gazed mockingly at Trunks before him. You truly believed this was my full power? I was merely toying with you. And you actually took it seriously. Instantly, a violet aura surged around Lord Cooler. His garments vanished as he transformed, revealing a tumtor-long tail that extended behind him. His frame grew more imposing. Muscles, sharply defined arms, and chest sheathed in gleaming white armor. His lavender-hued skin bore fresh scars, rendering him far more formidable than before. As the transformation completed, Lord Cooler's overwhelming aura exploded outward, leaving all present stunned into silence. Well then, Saiyan. Does my current form stir any recognition in you? Haha. Damn it. How is this possible? He's even stronger than the androids. Could my arrival have warped this world's fate? I refuse to let Earth suffer that hellish existence again. Trunks growled defiance, burning in his voice. In a blink, Lord Cooler closed the distance and struck Trunks down with a single palm strike. He lifted Trunks' sword, examining it with detached amusement. A fine blade. Pity it chose the wrong master. With a sharp crack, he split the sword cleanly in two and cast it aside. Then, reappearing before the fallen Trunks, he loomed over him as Trunks, face pressed to the earth, glared up with seething hatred. Even if I cannot kill you, Son Goku will. History itself decrees your death at his hands. Fury flashed across Lord Cooler's face. He stomped hard upon Trunks. Then Vegeta strode forward. I have questions for him. You will not kill him yet. Vegeta. At the sound of his name, the others emerged from hiding, relief and awe mingling in their voices. Trunks, lying broken on the ground, forced his eyes open, only to see a man clad in pink standing resolutely between him and death. They called him Vegeta. Could he be my father? Tears welled in Trunks' eyes. His first glimpse of the father he'd never known, arriving not as myth but as salvation. How quaint. So many little insects hiding nearby. Since you've all crawled out, I'll grant you the mercy of dying together. In hell. Lord Cooler sneered, eyes glinting with cruel amusement. Hell, that realm suits you far better. Allow me to escort you there. A new voice cut through the air. Everyone turned, and tears of disbelief and joy spilled down their cheeks. Goku, Raditz, you're here. Sensing Trunks' imminent defeat, Goku and Raditz had both activated instant transmission. Arriving in, who are you? To speak so arrogantly. Lord Cooler scoffed. We are Saiyans. You came to Earth seeking vengeance for your son. So hear this: I killed both Frieza and Cell. Raditz met Lord Cooler's gaze with icy disdain. It baffles me. Why does your entire bloodline rush so eagerly toward annihilation? Lord Cooler's jaw clenched, fury twisted his features. You slaughtered my sons. Today you'll vanish. Not even dust shall remain of you. Raditz only smirked, glancing sidelong at Goku. Remarkable, Kakarot. Nearly a year apart, yet your power has surged dramatically. I assumed you'd still be stuck at Super Saiyan first grade. Naturally. Ever since you mastered instant transmission and left, I trained without rest, relentlessly. Just to surpass you. Once he's dealt with, we settle our score. Kakarot, don't mistake encouragement for flattery. You're still not strong enough to finish him alone. At best you'd stalemate. Let me handle this. I'd hoped he'd offer a worthy challenge, but looks like you're trembling. Time for me to step in. King Cooled felt a surge of anger at Raditz's mockery. How dare a lowly Saiyan speak to me, the strongest being in the universe, like that? It's unforgivable. So what? Go ahead and bite me. Raditz taunted. Damn it, you're asking for death. King Cooled, flustered, was about to strike Raditz, only to realize he seemed unable to move. What's happening? Why can't I move? Do you know that your son Frieza has a team of Ginyu Force? One of them possesses an extraordinary ability called binding technique. Don't think your power exceeds mine. Even if you are stronger, as long as you aren't overwhelmingly powerful, I can bind you for a time, Raditz explained. How does it feel to be unable to move? Transforming into a Super Saiyan, Raditz slowly approached King Cooled, who was paralyzed with fear. What do you want to do? You're not a beauty, so what can I do to you? Just kill you, Raditz replied. With that, a ki blast pierced through King Cooled's body and the binding technique was release. With King Cooled's death, Raditz reverted from his Super Saiyan form, and Goku hurried over. Brother, what did you just do? That was amazing. It was nothing, just a little trick, Raditz replied. Meanwhile, Krillin had revived Trunks with a Senzu bean. Thanks to this young man, we would have perished before Goku and Raditz returned. Krillin remarked gratefully. Everyone's gaze turned to Trunks curiously, and Vegeta spoke first. Who are you? How can you transform into a Super Saiyan? There shouldn't be anyone else besides the three of us. That I cannot disclose, Trunks replied. Vegeta grew irritated. What do you mean you can't say? Do you look down on me? Vegeta, he might truly have his reasons for not speaking, so don't press him. Goku interjected, greeting Trunks. Hello, I'm Goku. Thank you for protecting the Earth. By the way, what is your name? Hello, Mr. Goku. I know you. I came here to find you, but I cannot reveal my name, Trunks replied. What a strange guy, not even. Then, before everyone's eyes, Trunks vanished in his time machine. I can hardly believe it. Time machines truly exist in this era, and yet every one of us in the future has already been slain. Krillin spoke with stunned disbelief. Then let us rendezvous at the location where the androids will appear 3 years from now. By the way, Goku, what are the precise time and place of their emergence? Tien Shinhan asked solemnly. He knew he must train harder than ever before, for he now possessed something worth risking his life to protect. I think it was mentioned somewhere, but I've forgotten, Goku admitted sheepishly. It's around 10 o'clock on the morning of May 12th or 3 years from now, on a small island 9 kilometers southwest of South City. Goku, thank goodness Raditz is here. How could you possibly forget something so critical? Oh right, I'll remember next time. Ha ha ha. By the way, I've been thinking. Bulma suddenly interjected. What if we eliminate Dr. Gero, the creator of the androids, right now? We don't know his whereabouts. So, breaking through to Super Saiyan 2nd grade may indeed be within reach. Soon afterward, Raditz followed North Kai across the other world past heaven and onto the Grand Kai's planet. You? What business brings you here? A voice rang out. Raditz and North Kai turned simultaneously, only to see another Kai nearly identical in build and attire to North Kai, pointing rudely at Raditz. Ah, it's you, West Kai. What brings you here? I've simply come to pay respects to the Grand Kai after a long absence, and I've brought along North Galaxy's strongest warrior, Raditz. North Galaxy? What strongest warrior could it possibly boast? Judging by his appearance, he's nothing special. We're pickin' present today, head defeat this fellow with a single casual blow. Hearing such disdain, Raditz bristled. Then summon this Pickin. Let us test whether he's truly the strongest or merely the loudest. How dare you shout at me so impudently, you ill-mannered wretch? Do you even know who I am? I am W. 3 more days passed swiftly. That day the Grand Kai's planet teemed with countless warriors. As Raditz surveyed the dense throng, astonishment stirred within him. He murmured softly to himself. Though most here fall short of my strength, many possess formidable power. A truly exceptional gathering. My blood surges with anticipation. I ache to test them all in combat. Standing beside North Kai, the latter nearly stumbled upon hearing those words. This man spoke without restraint. Yet if all those warriors united against him, even he might not escape alive. Suddenly bringing Raditz here felt like a grave miscalculation. We haven't held a martial arts tournament in far too long. Follow me, everyone. From his lofty seat, the Grand Kai rose and addressed the assembly. The crowd trailed behind him as he led them to a vast, imposing arena. This will do. The Grand Kai surveyed the grounds and nodded in quiet satisfaction. Then, let the tournament begin. Then the competition shall now officially begin. A peculiar creature with a mushroom-shaped head stepped to the center of the arena, clutching a microphone. I shall now explain the rules. Each galaxy shall field 4 competitors in a single elimination tournament. A contestant forfeits upon yielding or being struck out of the ring. Any use of dishonorable or underhanded tactics will result in immediate disqualification. By the way, the victor shall receive personal martial instruction from the Grand Kai himself. Very well. If no one has objections, the match begins now. First bout, Raditz of the North Galaxy versus Kakarot of the South Galaxy. Raditz strode calmly onto the arena. Before him stood a towering humanoid insect, verdant with 16 arms, each clad in a gauntlet. You're oddly shaped, but hardly imposing. Is that so? Then test it for yourself. Come at me then. Instantly Kakarot's eyes blazed yellow. His antennae rippled outward like waves. Raditz's expression flickered. Then he found himself seized tight in Kakarot's grip. The remaining arms clenched into fists and struck Raditz hard across the back. Interesting. Your technique must disrupt neural frequencies. But your strength is laughably feeble. You're not striking me. You're massaging my shoulders. With a single tremor of his body, Raditz shattered the hold. Capet was hurled clean out of the ring. First bout, Raditz of the North Galaxy wins. Now commences the second bout. The tournament surged forward fierce and Pork Rib Rice is astonishing, victorious in a single move. Now let us see who shall claim first place. Will it be Raditz of the North Galaxy, or Uruaji of the East Galaxy? Both fighters, please step forward. On the arena floor, Raditz studied his opponent. A slender, upright fish-like being entirely blue and white with an air of serene dimness. He looks pathetically weak. Granted, few here rival even Dodoria's strength. But how did he reach the finals? Raditz frowned. By aura alone, this creature barely matched Dodoria's old power. Without hesitation, he fired a ki blast straight at him. To Raditz's surprise, the blast passed cleanly through Uruaji's body and blasted beyond the ring. What sorcery is this? Unharmed, Uruaji stood motionless. Raditz launched a dozen more blasts. Each vanished into nothing. Undeterred, he unleashed his full power in one final searing wave. Impossible! How can this be? Futile! I am the peerless genius of Shuelan Star. Any attack passing Tichar. Here, take this. The arena dissolved into motion. Two blurs tearing through air, punctuated only by thunderous impacts. Boom. 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 After roughly 15 minutes, Raditz crashed violently to the ground. Rising slowly, he wiped blood from his lip. It's been ages since anyone gave me such exhilarating pain. HHHA. He laughed, eyes alight with fierce joy. Hey, Pork Rib Rice. Strip off that gravity suit. I'll fight you bare. No limits. Let's settle this once and for all. As you wish. With that, Pork Rib Rice flung his garment aside. It struck the floor with a deafening crunch, carving a crater deep into the stone. Ahak! Raditz roared, and erupted into full-power Super Saiyan form. Golden light blazed across his frame, halting every onlooker in stunned silence. Even Pork Rib Rice recoiled in disbelief. How can one being's aura surge this drastically upon transformation? The three other Kais gaped, jaws slack. What in the cosmos has he done? Ha ha ha! Yet amid universal awe, only one figure beamed with unreserved delight. The North Kai. Fear not, he's simply become a Super Saiyan. A Super Saiyan? So the legend is true. This youth is indeed the fabled warrior born once every 1,000 years among the Saiyan race. The Grand Kai himself spoke at last. Pork Rib Rice. Behold my true power. Raditz. I admit, I underestimated you, but I am no ordinary foe. Victory will not come easily. Is that so? Then taste this Kamehameha break. Raditz unleashed the signature technique he'd learned from Goku. A blinding white beam surging toward Pork Rib Rice. When the light faded, the arena stood empty. Pork Rib Rice had vanished. Impressive speed. You evaded it cleanly. Raditz tilted his head upward. There, suspended in the sky, Pork Rib Rice hovered, hands clasped behind his back. Come, Raditz. Witness my ultimate art pie-style exclusive whirlwind. In an instant, Pork Rib Rice became a vortex. A roaring cyclone that swallowed Raditz whole. Razor-edged gusts scoured his flesh from every angle. Raditz shielded his vital points. But agony still tore through him, relentless and raw. Raditz's body was now a tapestry of wounds. Shallow and deep, bleeding and raw. Gritting his teeth, he bore the torment without sound. Damn it. Then try this time freeze technique. With that, Raditz activated a skill he'd never before dared employ. Instantly the world fell silent. Time itself ceased. Pork Rib Rice's whirlwind froze mid-scream. Every particle hung motionless. Raditz now held absolute dominion. Calmly he walked toward the suspended figure, until abruptly a voice pierced the stillness. Raditz's world scanning wildly. Alarmed, uncertain. Time pause. Incredible. I never expected that humans could master divine skills. Although this is merely the most basic technique of time manipulation, the fact that you can wield it is already quite remarkable. As Raditz was using the time pause, he suddenly heard a voice, his expression freezing in tension, as he looked around only to find that everyone present was completely still. What was happening? Who was it after all? Don't worry, I mean you no harm. I am the great king of the universe. You can continue your match, and I will explain everything to you once it's over. Raditz understood what was happening, but he had no time to ponder it further. He stepped towards his target, the Rib Rice. This was his first time using time pause, yet he felt a growing sense of suffocation with each step he took. However, at that moment Raditz couldn't afford to think too much. He strode forward and sent the Rib Rice flying, and the time pause was lifted. Raditz took 2 deep breaths. What just happened? Not only the Rib Rice, but everyone around looked incredulous. What had just occurred? How did the Rib Rice get knocked away so suddenly? Although I don't know what you did, let me show you my technique now. Lightning burst. The Rib Rice shouted, gathering a terrifying amount of energy, in both hands powerful enough to make even Raditz break into a cold sweat. Come on. Raditz summoned all his energy for defense and... Seeing this, the North King and West King grew worried and hurried over to check, relieved to find that both were merely unconscious. At that moment, the great king of the universe stepped forward. I declare that the result of this match is a tie between Ribrice and Raditz. Upon hearing this, the crowd erupted in excitement. Indeed, only the strong are respected no matter where they are. North King, once Raditz wakes up, bring him to see me. Today's match was quite spectacular. Everyone else can head home. Yes. Upon hearing the great king's words, the North King promptly agreed and everyone began to leave. As they departed, the West King approached. Hey, do you know what the great king wants with that kid? How would I know? Perhaps he is impressed by Raditz's strength. Humph, I admit that this kid does possess some strength to tie with Ribrice, but he is too impolite. You should discipline him properly. Cut it out, we in the North Galaxy don't need your concern. The North King replied dismissively. Cut it out, who cares? With that, the West King left with Ribrice departing from the great king's planet. 3 hours later, Raditz slowly awakened. Raditz, you're awake. Upon waking, Raditz looked at the unfamiliar surroundings and asked, Great King, where are we? We're still on the great king's planet, we haven't left. The great king said to bring you to see him once. You wielded the power of time during today's match. My first thought was that you might be a descendant of that deity servant or even the pet, but you are unmistakably a Saiyan, which rules out such lineage. That piqued my curiosity. Hearing this, Raditz leaned forward with intrigue and asked, Why do you believe the deity's servant could not have been a Saiyan? Because one of those two servants was my own ancestor, so I know the other was not a Saiyan. Moreover, that servant may no longer exist within this universe. And precisely because of this heritage, I possessed a sliver of temporal power from the moment of my birth. The previous Grand Kai recognized this unique aptitude, and thus appointed me to this position. I see. Raditz now understood Guldo's ability to halt time likely stemmed from his ancestry, the very pet. No wonder Guldo looks like a mangy dog. His forebear served as a pet, though at least he served a god. Yet how did his bloodline descend so far? The Grand Kai observed Raditz lost in thought and gently interjected. The temporal art you command is exceedingly crude, barely grazing the fringes of time itself. Your time's top technique, though potent, bears grave flaws. Raditz frowned, puzzled. Might your excellency the Grand Kai enlighten me? Hear no reluctance. You are the first being I've ever encountered who grasps time, and possesses a heart aligned with justice. I shall not withhold wisdom. First, though, you trigger time's top by holding your breath, have you in. Each time you halt time, your lungs sustain damage. The stronger your target, the more severe the asphyxiation, and the greater the harm inflicted upon your body. Prolonged use will eventually shatter your pulmonary capacity, collapsing your entire physiology. Raditz recoiled inwardly. Thank the heavens this was his first attempt, and thank fate the Grand Kai had witnessed it, otherwise he would have perished unknowingly. Second, never deploy this art against foes vastly superior to you. Your frame would disintegrate instantly. Raditz nodded again. No wonder Guldo, despite wielding such power, groveled before Frieza, and suffered mockery from the Ginyu Force. His weakness had rendered him too fearful to act. Third, your technique only affects deities below my rank. Against me or any deity above me, it holds no effect whatsoever. Raditz's eyes dimmed hollow with disillusionment. After all his struggle, the ability proved little more than a self-destructive novelty. Useless parallel. Time flowed steadily onward. Outside the chamber, North Kai stood patiently at the door awaiting Raditz's emergence. Yet minutes stretched into hours and still no sign appeared. When figures approached, North Kai hurried forward asking, Has the Grand Kai yet concluded his discussion with Raditz? North Kai, why are you still here? The Grand Kai and Raditz departed through the rear passage long ago. The Grand Kai instructed Raditz to reside here for a time, and they assumed you'd already returned. North Kai's brow darkened with visible vexation. So he'd waited in vain all this time. Cursed Raditz, I loathe you. Never let me see your face again. Fuming, he stormed off Grand Kai's planet. 1 year later, Grand Kai's planet. Congratulations, Raditz. You've finally grasped a genuine fragment of temporal power. Still, given your prodigious talent, mastering time's top from nothing should have taken far less than a year. Raditz broke into a cold sweat, awkwardly silent. His inner V. No matter. You remain the first human I've ever met capable of touching time. A feat many deities cannot fathom. Thank you, Your Excellency. This past year, your patient guidance has propelled my strength beyond imagination. I believe it is time I depart. The Grand Kai nodded slowly. Go forth. Your potential is vast, and your path stretches far beyond these stars. Yet remember, always never abandon your heart of justice. In our year together, I've seen your fierce intellect and your unwavering moral compass. Yet your temperament leans toward extremism. I do not know what trials forged you, but whatever lies ahead, guard your clarity. Distinguish right from wrong even amid chaos. Before you leave, accept this final counsel. Remain faithful to your original intent, and you shall attain your ultimate purpose. Raditz bowed low, deep and reverent. I shall remember. Thank you. The Grand Kai waved gently, a quiet warmth in his gesture. Go. Visit this old man whenever you see a. Raditz departed from the Grand Kai's planet using instantaneous movement and reappeared on the North Kai's planet. At that moment, the North Kai was driving a car on a global tour. Raditz's sudden arrival startled him so completely that he crashed headlong into the Saiyan. Raditz, what in the world are you doing? Must you always appear out of nowhere? You've wrecked my car again. The North Kai glared at Raditz, visibly irritated. My apologies, Your Majesty. I'll be more mindful next time. Humph. So you've returned from your training with the Grand Kai? Yes. I've made tremendous progress thanks to the Grand Kai's guidance. The North Kai perked up, intrigued. Oh, what exactly did you learn under the Grand Kai? A satisfied smile flickered across Raditz's face. Ever since my battle with Broly, I sensed my cultivation foundation beginning to loosen. Over this past year of rigorous training on the Grand Kai's planet, I've successfully ascended to Super Saiyan 2nd grade. And I've even begun mastering a fragment of temporal power. Super Saiyan 2nd grade. You mentioned it before, but I never imagined you'd truly achieve it. Wait, what did you say just now? Time. That's a divine art. Reserved solely for gods. How on earth did you attain it? I can suspend time for any individual, or even a god, for precisely 0.2 seconds, without adverse effects upon myself. The sole drawback is that I require 30 minutes to recover afterward. Beyond 0.2 seconds, physiological strain begins to manifest. The Grand Kai assured me this is merely the first step in temporal mastery. Further cultivation will allow me to employ it more frequently and extend its duration. In time, should I reach perfection, I may even command time's forward flow, or reverse it entirely. Raditz spoke with quiet pride, briefly recalling the Grand Kai's words. Achieving absolute temporal mastery was deemed impossible, even by divine standards, save perhaps for the legendary god of time himself. Perhaps I should consult Shenron, he mused, and ask if he can purge the physical toll left by overextending my temporal abilities. If successful, I would stand unrivaled. He allowed himself a wry, self-amused smile. By the way, Your Majesty, I must depart for Earth immediately. Without further ado, Raditz extended his divine sense to locate Vegeta's key. Since the Saiyan still resided at Bulma's residence, Raditz needed to borrow the dragon radar. Found it. Wait, something's wrong. Vegeta's aura feels bizarre. Did our earlier battles destabilize his cultivation? No matter. I'll investigate firsthand. In an instant, Raditz vanished before the North Kai's eyes. The latter roared in exasperation. Raditz, you insufferable lout. You arrive unannounced and vanish without warning. Do you take my planet for your personal hallway? At Bulma's home, Raditz materialized instantly before Vegeta, only to freeze midair stunned. Whoa, sorry. My deepest apologies. Before him, Vegeta and Bulma had just concluded an intimate moment. Their garments remained half-fastened. Raditz hastily seized another random key signature and teleported away in embarrassment. Raditz, you despicable worm. I'll tear you limb from limb. Goku suddenly broke Raditz's reverie. Brother, you were distracted during the fight just now. What were you thinking about? Nothing important. I must go. I'll leave you to train diligently. With that, he shot off toward Bulma's residence. Moments later, he stood once more at her doorstep. Bulma, spotting him, wasted no time. Raditz, get out. Now. Come on, Bulma. It wasn't intentional, and I swear, I saw absolutely nothing. That changes nothing. From today onward, my home is strictly off-limits to you. Leave, immediately. I'm truly sorry. This is the last time. I promise, truly the final one. You say, last time every time. Count how many final times you've already broken. Bulma crossed her arms, glaring fiercely. Just then, Vegeta strode over, overhearing their exchange. Something felt oddly dissonant, but he couldn't quite place it. His mind, clouded by fury, registered only one truth. Raditz dared show his face here again. You wretched scum. How dare you return? I'll kill you. Bulma's eyes gleamed with sudden interest. Fine. I'll lend it, if you agree to 2 conditions. Name them. Anything within my power, I accept without hesitation. Raditz stood firm, resolve etched clearly across his features. First, you are banned from using instant transmission to my home in the future, understood? Not a problem this time. It was indeed my fault. I guarantee there won't be a 4th time. This condition was readily accepted by Raditz. Then Bulma glanced at Vegeta, hesitated for a moment, and walked up to Raditz, whispering in his ear. Second, this guy Vegeta trains so hard every day it's getting annoying. You need to find a way to help him train, preferably to help him become a Super Saiyan. Unexpectedly, Bulma turned out to be a protective wife fanatic. Raditz, upon hearing this, immediately teased. Oh, I didn't expect you, Bulma, to actually... Before Raditz could finish, Bulma shot him a fierce glare and said, Shut up if you want the dragon radar. Say less, understood? Alright, no problem. I agree to this condition as well. Then I'll go get you the dragon radar. You wait here. Okay, hurry back. Then Bulma walked towards her laboratory. After she left, Vegeta approached with a suspicious I need the Dragon Balls to handle a few things. Once I'm done, I'll help Vegeta become a Super Saiyan, is that alright? Bulma glanced at Vegeta beside her after hearing Raditz's words. Seeing him silent, it was clear he had already agreed, so she accepted as well. Alright then, but what wish would you like to make with the Dragon Balls? Nothing much, just a small matter. Soon Raditz successfully obtained the Dragon Balls from Bulma, then went around collecting them from various places, even borrowing the 4-star ball from Goku. In less than half a day, all 7 Dragon Balls were gathered. I really envy you. Back in the day, Goku and I faced so many difficulties collecting the Dragon Balls, and now you've done it so easily. As Bulma saw the 7 Dragon Balls, she couldn't help but reminisce. Come forth, Shinron. Raditz shouted, and in an instant the sky darkened. After a flash of golden lightning, a green Eastern dragon appeared before Raditz. State your wish. I can grant any wish. Raditz, what did you mean by that just now? Raditz did not respond. Instead, he directly sent Vegeta flying, and said, with your pathetic self, you dare to call yourself Prince Vegeta? Let me see how much ability this waste of space truly has. Raditz, you despicable lower-class warrior, since it's come to this, let me show you the might of Prince Vegeta. TCH Prince's combat technique. Seeing Vegeta's moves, Raditz wore a mocking expression, lacking even the desire to dodge. He merely formed an energy barrier around himself, rendering Vegeta's attacks utterly ineffective. Slowly Raditz approached Vegeta, delivering punch after punch, deliberately avoiding vital spots, only inflicting pain. Raditz completely overpowered Vegeta, who gradually lost confidence, as he was beaten, eventually collapsing to the ground, murmuring, why can't I even defeat a lower-class warrior? Why can't I become a Super Saiyan? Is this all you've got? How pathetic. With your kind of waste dreaming of... The battle aura of Raditz and Vegeta affected the warriors who were training far away, stirring their hearts, and prompting them to engage in even more intense training. Meanwhile, in a remote deep mountain, an elderly human was frantically calculating something in a laboratory on his computer. If Bulma were present, she would certainly recognize this as Dr. Gero, the creator of the androids. At this moment, he was in a flurry, muttering strange words to himself. No, this level of power is simply insufficient. They are growing too quickly. Since that is the case, I won't hold back my ruthless methods any longer. I can only unleash the androids' powers without restrictions. However, this will undoubtedly affect their temperament. Who knows what they will become? No matter, I will strengthen my control over them. If it comes to it, I will just install enough bombs in their hearts. If they truly become uncontrollable, I will have no choice but to destroy them. On the other side, after... Thus Raditz turned around and flew towards Master Rose's house. As he passed by a city, he suddenly saw a familiar figure and stopped in his tracks, walking towards that person. Yamcha, what are you doing here? Raditz approached Yamcha from behind and patted him on the shoulder. Oh, it's Raditz. I just finished training and was going out with my girlfriend to relax a bit, haha. Yamcha said with a silly grin, scratching his head. Isn't your girlfriend Bulma? I broke up with Bulma almost 6 months ago, so I found a new girlfriend. I intended to train, but she insisted I come out, so I had no choice but to agree. Yamcha explained Raditz's confusion, then added, you wouldn't believe who Bulma is with now. It's okay, I'm not interested in your romantic affairs. I have things to do at Master Rose's house. Raditz, what are you going to do at Master Rose's? Krillin is nearby. Do you want him to come with you? Yamcha inquired. Krillin is here. Isn't he supposed to be training? Really, Raditz? Are you really confident you can handle the androids? But the future situation? Don't worry. The androids are no big deal. That isn't even the future, at least not our future. Hearing Raditz's firm response, Yamcha immediately breathed a sigh of relief. So Raditz can handle it, then I can relax. To be honest, the pressure from training has been quite heavy lately. I also want to go out with my girlfriend, but I've been worried about the future. With you here, both Krillin and I will feel much more at ease. Just as Raditz and Yamcha were conversing, Krillin approached with 2 girls, both of whom were very pretty and appeared to be well-bred young ladies. Hello, Raditz. What are you doing here? Krillin greeted Raditz upon seeing him. I have some business at Master Rose's. You all carry on, I'll take my leave, Raditz said, not engaging further before departing. Yamcha immediately stepped closer to Krillin, placing a hand on his shoulder. So how about it? Marin is... So it turns out you are Wukong's brother. I wonder what brings you here unexpectedly. I know that Master Wutian has a secret technique, the one he used to seal Piccolo, called the Demon Seal Wave, so I wish to learn it, Raditz explained. Is that so? You intend to use it against the androids? Very well, I can teach you. Consider it my contribution to the future. Thank you, Master Wutian. No need for thanks. Besides, you are not my disciple, so you need not call me Master, the Turtle Hermit replied. Anyone can be a teacher, and your understanding of martial arts is far deeper than what we juniors can compare to. Who would have thought? You are quite eloquent, much smarter than Wukong. It's hard to believe you two are actually brothers, the Turtle Hermit marveled. In the following days Raditz studied the demon seal wave with the turtle hermit every day, but during this time Krillin was absent from the turtle hermit's house for training. Sai the turtle hermit looked out at the sea sprays. 2 years passed in the blink of an eye. At Bowsy Mountain 4 people stood outside Wukong's home. Wukong Gohan Piccolo you 3 be careful Shishi cautioned. Got it Chi-Chi don't worry Wukong replied then, turned to Piccolo and Gohan saying let's set off. Okay they both nodded in agreement and the 3 flew southeast. Old son tell me honestly do you think I can win this battle? Piccolo suddenly asked while flying. I can't say until we spar, you never know until you try Wukong replied. I don't know why but I have a bad feeling Piccolo said. After a moment of silence Wukong responded Piccolo promise me that if you can't win don't force yourself. If you die the Dragon Balls will disappear. We need you alive for hope. I understand. Dad Uncle Piccolo we've arrived, it's just ahead. Gohan's words suddenly interrupted the two. Alright let's land they said descending toward the ground. Aunt Bulma Uncle Krillin and Uncle Yamcha you've all arrived. Bulma what are yo? With a loud explosion everyone simultaneously looked up at the sky seeing Yajirobe's spaceship shooting smoke as it fell toward the ground. It seems the androids have appeared. Let's move out Raditz spoke first. Everyone nodded and scattered toward the city. Yakaluabai who ought to have departed was torn from the sky by a sudden explosion. The spaceship plummeted from great height trailing billowing smoke before crashing into the distant sea. Androids. Wukong can you see them clearly? Kellen glanced at Son Wukong. No. They give off no aura. It seems we must rely on sight alone. Then let's spread out and search someone suggested. Agreed. With a chorus of assent they scattered in all directions across the town. On a street of the little town a pallid corpulent figure and an elderly-looking man wreaked havoc without restraint. Yamcha rushed forward and cried, Stop! You two are androids aren't you? The corpulent android scanned Yamcha's information and said to the older man strange. There is no breath reading. This one might be called Yamcha. Never mind. Even if he's not Son Wukong he's still one of them. Kill him first, the older android ordered. Yes. In an instant the fat android materialized beside Yamcha, seizing his throat with one hand while the other aimed at his heart. My strength is draining. This is the end, Yamcha whispered eyes closing. Just as death seemed imminent the attacker was abrupt. So you are the androids then? At last we meet. Baiku surveyed the two before him and asked, How do you know we are androids and how did you find us on this island? Tell us why. The older android curled his lip. You don't need to know. The dead need not be burdened with answers. La Tizi interrupted. A truth be told he felt no particular interest in these two. His focus lay only on Android 18 and Android 17. Brother don't fight here, innocents will be hurt. Let's move somewhere deserted Son Wukong cautioned La Tizi. If Wukong wants a quiet place I don't mind, but there's no need to make such a fuss. The elderly android said channeling a surge of energy that radiated outward. The ensuing blast reduced great swathes of the island to ruin. Damn it stop! Son Wukong flew into a rage and struck sending the android sprawling. If you find this troublesome I can help. La Tizi said stepping forward. He seized the android's arms glanced toward the barren stretch beyond and after Son Wukong withdrew the others descended toward the place where the androids had fallen. So you stopped early, planning to make this your grave. La Tizi jeered at the two. Don't get cocky La Tizi. You'll learn what we're capable of soon enough. The older android snapped. Oh, you know me. La Tizi's tone turned mocking. Where's that Son Wukong fellow? Did he chicken out on you? The elderly android asked noticing the absence of Son Wukong in the crowd. We don't need him to handle you. Baiku stepped forward. But first, why do you know about us? The older android smirked. Fine, they'll tell you. I've been surveilling Son Wukong with microspy devices ever since the martial arts tournament and the arrival of the Saiyans. I recorded everything, from the battle that destroyed the Red Ribbon Legion onward, and I refined my experiments based on how to defeat him. We are the creations of the great Dr. Gailua Android 20 and Android 19. Baiku let out a light laugh. I see, but you... Hey, you two are the androids, right? Come on both of you. Let me finish this in one go. Vegeta's confident expression lifted slightly before he roared aloud. An overwhelming aura erupted instantly, and his entire body blazed with golden light. What terrifying energy! Only up close can one truly grasp the dread power of a Super Saiyan. At that moment Tien Shinhan and Yamcha stood frozen stunned by the sheer magnitude of that force. So this is the Super Saiyan you spoke of. Truly astonishing growth. Far beyond even our computer's projections. Still no cause for alarm. Android 19 is more than sufficient to handle him. Dr. Jero remained utterly unruffled as he spoke. How laughable. Does this fat fool honestly believe he can defeat me? Then let him taste my true might. Instantly Vegeta and Android 19 clashed in furious combat. Their forms blurred into a whirlwind of motion. Vegeta's assaults were ferocious and lightning fast, yet Android 19 matched him blow for blow, though his Dr. Jero frowned faintly as he observed the battle. Due to his frail physical condition, he had channeled most of his energy into Android 19, fully expecting an effortless victory. Yet the stalemate unfolding before him defied all expectation. It appears Vegeta and this android are evenly matched, murmured Piccolo, watching intently. Not even close. Mr. Raditz, what did you just say? Tien Shinhan asked, puzzled. I mean precisely that this android falls far short of Vegeta. He hasn't even begun to unleash his true power. Truly? Then that's wonderful. I never imagined Vegeta could dispatch these androids so easily. Yamcha exclaimed, elated. Moments earlier he'd nearly been slain by them and dreaded facing either ever again. Nearby the combatants broke apart. Vegeta raised both hands, gathering an immense seething sphere of energy. I'll admit, I hadn't expected you fatso to last this long. But now, taste this Gallic gun. At that sight the two androids exchanged no. Meanwhile future Trunks arrived at the battlefield. Seeing Android 19's lifeless body sprawled on the ground, he recoiled in shock, speechless. Who is this android? Who were they fighting? What is happening here? Why do they bear no resemblance to the androids I remember? Sensing the group's rapidly receding ki, Trunks pushed himself to full speed and gave chase. Someone's coming from behind. It's that boy from the future. Tien Shinhan glanced back. Trunks, what brings you here? Raditz called out upon spotting him. Beside him Vegeta's expression shifted abruptly. Trunks, that's my son's name. And he transforms into a Super Saiyan too. So, this is him, the son I'll one day have. My apologies. I arrived late. May I ask whom you were battling just now? Trunks inquired. That was an android, wasn't it? Piccolo replied, startled. No, that's not the android from my timeline. Damn it. How many of them are there? Trunks gritted his teeth, fury burning in his voice. What? The others stared stunned into silence. Enough talk. We'll lose Gero if we linger. Let's go. Everything will become clear once we reach him. At Raditz's words the group nodded in unison and sped onward following Dr. Gero's trail. Dr. Gero sprinted relentlessly, until at last he reached his secret laboratory. Here it is. Finally. Damn them. They're still chasing me. Humph. Once I awaken 17 and 18, your deaths are assured. The heavy door of the pitch-black lab groaned open. Inside only the faint rhythmic glow of computer monitors pierced the darkness. As Dr. Gero stepped across the threshold, lights flared to life throughout the chamber, revealing 3 coffin-like stasis pods aligned in a row. Through their reinforced glass, a breathtakingly beautiful young woman and a strikingly handsome youth lay motionless, eyes closed in serene slumber. The youth and the maiden lay perfectly still within their cryopods, breathing shallowly. Then a haggard, breathless old man staggered into view. His clothes torn, his face streaked with grime. Gazing upon the 2 flawless figures inside, he threw back his head and laughed. A wild, triumphant cackle. I never wished to awaken you unless absolutely necessary. But now Goku and Vegeta. You'll see the true terror of androids. With a slow, resonant hiss, the lids of the 2 pods began to part.